After the eldest disciple of the human school finished speaking, the other immortals spoke one after another. Some supported suppressing the humans, while others suggested asking the immortals of the heavenly court to persuade the humans. There were all sorts of opinions, causing the numinous palace to become noisy. After the eldest disciple of the human school finished speaking, the other immortals spoke one after another. Some supported suppressing the humans, while others suggested asking the immortals of the heavenly court to persuade the humans. There were all sorts of opinions, causing the numinous palace to become noisy. The heavenly emperor listened quietly. He was also thinking about this question. If he dealt with the humans, it would involve too much trouble. Most of the immortals of the heavenly court were from the human race. Once they targeted the humans, it would definitely cause a commotion. However, if they let the human race grow stronger, these immortals might abandon the heavenly court and return to the human race. This was a dilemma. After a long while, the heavenly emperor raised his hand and pressed down. All the immortals in the numinous palace quietened down. He slowly said, "Warn the humans that if they insist, the heavenly court will show the power of immortals to the world." With that said, the expressions of the gods changed. They had their own thoughts. 7 years later, Hanju was cultivating when 4 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected that the heavenly court is declaring war on the entire human race. You have the following choices. 1. Support the human race and fight for the providence of the human race. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Support the heavenly court and fight for the providence of the immortal gods. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a supreme treasure. 3. Cultivate in a low-profile manner and don't enter the calamity. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a random natural treasure. Heavenly court fought with the humans? Hanju couldn't help but think that more than 4,000 years ago, when the heavenly court surrounded the mortal world, he had also fought for the humans and the immortal gods. Although the heavenly emperor had done him a favor, Hanju would never forget the arrogant attitude of the immortal gods. If not for him showing his potential, the reroll world would have been long gone, and the heavenly emperor would not have treated him so well. This was reality. Hanju thought as he silently chose the third option. He didn't care about the entire human race. He only cared about the humans of the reroll world. He couldn't protect the humans of the myriad worlds. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World.com platform. He remembered the heavenly emperor's kindness, but he did not have a good impression of the heavenly court. Of course, most importantly, he did not want to take any risks. Congratulations on obtaining a great Tao fragment and a random natural treasure. Congratulations on obtaining the 10,000 Bodhi tree. 10,000 Bodhi tree, ancient divine tree. Cultivating under the tree can increase one's comprehension. At the same time, it can produce Kanate chi. This tree was not bad. Hanju took out the 10,000 Bodhi tree. It was still a sapling. He stood up and brought the 10,000 Bodhi tree out of the cave abode. Everyone from the hidden sect couldn't help but stand up when they saw him. Hanju ignored them and walked halfway up the mountain. The others followed, and more people agglomerated. Hanju planted the 10,000 Bodhi tree halfway up the mountain. Chu Shuren sized it up and then exclaimed, "This is a Bodhi tree? Furthermore, its grade is very high. Even in the Buddhist sect, there isn't such a high-grade Bodhi tree." The others couldn't help but stare at the 10,000 Bodhi tree curiously. Hanju said, "This tree can produce Kanate chi suitable for deity realm cultivation, and also increase your comprehension. You have to protect it. This is a supreme treasure for your cultivation. As long as it grows healthily, it will be very helpful to you. However, before it completely grows up, no one is allowed to cultivate beside it and snatch its spirit chi. Do you understand?" Everyone nodded as they looked at the 10,000 Bodhi tree with burning eyes. Who among them would not be tempted by such a divine tree? Hanju didn't say anything else and left. Everyone surrounded the 10,000 Bodhi tree and pointed. They were all very surprised that Hanju could take out such a supreme treasure. Hanju had always been in seclusion. How did he obtain such a precious treasure? From the heavenly court? Impossible. In Chu Shuren's words, the heavenly court didn't have such a foundation. The 10,000 Bodhi tree was an ultimate treasure in any overlord faction in the immortal world. The source of this _chapter, light novel world. The Black Hell Chicken smiled proudly. I already said that Master is the reincarnation of the Tao ancestor. Chu Shuren shouted. Don't talk about the Tao ancestor. Even if he's Grandmaster, or even if he isn't, you can't mention it. Be careful of the divine retribution. The others were frightened. Even this Buddha thought that Hanju was the reincarnation of the Tao ancestor? Hanju was shocked on the way back. Since when did he become the Tao ancestor? Fortunately, Chu Shuren stopped him in time and didn't let such words spread. At most, they could chat casually in the Tao field and increase Hanju's image in the hearts of everyone in the hidden sect. However, they couldn't let it spread. If that happened, there would be huge trouble. Hanju came to the Fusang tree and asked with a smile, "How's your cultivation recently?" The Fusang tree shook slightly and replied, "Not bad. They occasionally guide me, but I still can't transform." Its tone was filled with regret. It also wanted to be like the others and move freely. However, it was the heavenly Tao divine tree. With the rules of the heavenly Tao suppressing it, it could not transform. If it could, wouldn't the legendary Buzhou divine mountain also be able to transform? Under the heavenly Tao, not all existences could transform as long as they cultivated. Hanju smiled and said, "This is actually a good thing. It can let you stay away from trouble and cultivate in peace. One day, you can break through the shackles and transform into a human and enjoy freedom." The Fusang tree could only think this way. After chatting for a while, Hanju returned to the Khanate cave abode. Continue cultivating. Time passed. Another 20 years passed. During Hanju's cultivation, the humans of the immortal world and the heavenly court fought. Even Xing Hongxian was attacked by the heavenly troops. Long Hao and Di Lantian seemed to have subsided. There was no movement from them. The darkness sect had always helped the heavenly court. They were the reason why they were becoming stronger. Read at Wuxia world. Yu Mingyi really wanted the heavenly court to become arrogant. Hanju understood. Too many factions were targeting the heavenly court. If the heavenly emperor wanted to survive this calamity, he could only face the difficulties and win great providence. If heavenly court won, they wouldn't kill the humans. Therefore, he didn't stop Xue Mingyi and let him make the mistake. If the heavenly emperor won the calamity because of this, Hanju would have repaid the favor and would not owe him anything anymore. As for whether he would join heavenly court in the future, he had to think about it. The heavenly court was too troublesome. Joining them would affect Hanju's Tao heart. Hanju was still a distance away from the 5 mystic divine origin, but he was becoming more and more determined. On this day, Hanju suddenly felt a terrifying aura descend on the 9 nether purgatory. "I'm the leader of the Golden Crow divine clan Di Lantian. From today onwards, the Golden Crow divine clan will enter the 9 nether purgatory. I hope that the Jie school and the Vermilion bird race will not find trouble with us." Di Lantian's voice resounded throughout the 9 nether purgatory. He was extremely arrogant. Hanju was speechless. Where did you get your confidence from? He became nervous. Why was Di Lantian here? Could it be Jiang Yi? Hanju immediately called Jiang Yi in. After Jiang Yi entered the cave abode, he was the first to speak. "It has nothing to do with me. I didn't reveal that the hidden sect is in the 9 nether purgatory. After coming here, I haven't communicated with the Golden Crow divine clan either." For some reason, Jiang Yi was inexplicably nervous, afraid that Hanju would take his anger out on him. The most up-to-date novels are published _here, Light Novel World. Hanju asked, "So what now?" Jiang Yi said, "I'll pretend not to know about this. I won't go out to find the Golden Crow divine clan either. They're too arrogant now. I'm afraid of being implicated." Chapter 390 Golden Crow demonizes Heavenly Emperor's dream. Chapter 390 Golden Crow demonizes Heavenly Emperor's dream. Jiang Yi acted very sensibly, causing Hanju to be too embarrassed to pursue the matter. Hanju didn't want to expose his whereabouts, even if the other party didn't know that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju asked, "If the Golden Crow divine clan wants to recall you, will you return?" Jiang Yi replied without hesitation, "No, I want to cultivate. I'm not living for the Golden Crow Divine Clan. He had been on Hidden Sect Island for some time, and had discovered the opportunities here. The Fusang tree and the 10,000 Bodhi tree were both cultivation holy objects. There was also a simulation trial that could quickly, and without a price, increase his combat ability. They didn't need to do missions or contribute. Hanju would even preach occasionally. He was simply too happy here. In any case, Jiangyi did not want to return. In the Golden Crow Divine Clan, he did not feel any competition among his peers. However, he felt pressure on Hidden Sect Island. This filled him with fighting spirit when cultivating, and he did not want to be weaker than others. Hanju smiled in satisfaction. You're promising. Jiangyi curled his lips. What happened? Unknowingly, why did he feel that he was a generation younger than Hanju? In the past, he treated Hanju as a younger brother who needed to be taken care of. Now he was actually afraid of his emotions. Jiangyi felt that it was unbelievable even when he recalled it. But this also showed how terrifying Hanju's shrewdness was. Being strong was not terrifying. What was terrifying was being strong and knowing how to restrain himself. Hanju said, "The Golden Crow Divine Clan has already entered the calamity. No matter how they contact you, don't care. Even if the Golden Crow Divine Clan is extinct, as long as you, Ada and Xiao Er survive, won't the Golden Crow Divine Clan have hope? You're avoiding the calamity now because you're working hard for the future of the Golden Crow Divine Clan." Jiangyi nodded. How shameless. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better reading experience, he spoke of cowardice so confidently. Even Jiangyi felt less guilty about the Golden Crow Divine Clan when he thought about it. Of course, this was only Jiangyi's mentality. He didn't dare to say it. Hanju waved his hand and gestured for him to leave. Jiangyi hesitated and finally chose to leave. He wanted Hanju to tell him a story, but he couldn't ask. The interference of the Golden Crow Divine Clan broke the silence of the 9 Nether Purgatory. Those golden crows couldn't stay idle and wandered around. From time to time, golden crows flew past the sky above Hidden Sect Island. Every time Ada and Xiao Er saw them, their expressions became complicated. They were golden crows who had been expelled from the race. Their feelings towards the Golden Crow Divine Clan were very complicated. After a few years, the Golden Crow Divine Clan no longer went out. Another 32 years passed. Hanju's cultivation improved again. The negative karma vortex around Hidden Sect Island was quite vast. Fortunately, no living beings nearby approached. The Vermilion Bird race, the Golden Crow Divine Clan, and the Jie School had been very harmonious recently. It was as if they were really here to avoid calamity. On this day, as Hanju cultivated, he checked his emails and suddenly saw an email. Your good friend Di Lantian has been demonized and his providence has transformed. Demonized? What happened? Hanju frowned. Di Lantian wasn't immortal. He was the divine Golden Crow. How could he be demonized? Could this be related to the devil race? The most up-to-date novels are published _here, Light Novel World. Calm Hanju immediately asked in his heart. Why was Di Lantian demonized? Di Lantian was in the 9 Nether Purgatory. Hanju had to be careful. 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Hanju hadn't used the derivation function for a long time, so he didn't feel any heartache. Immediately after, his consciousness entered the illusion. This was a dark and mysterious space. Di Lantian had transformed into a 3-legged golden crow that was larger than a mountain. He was like the sun, bringing the only light in this space. Hanju stood in front of Di Lantian and had to look up at him. What was this fellow doing? Hanju noticed Di Lantian's gaze. He turned around and discovered a pair of eyes in the darkness. They were cold and terrifying. These eyes were even larger than Di Lantian's main body, filled with pressure. For some reason, Hanju immediately thought of a name. Devil Ancestor. This big shot had entered Hanju's vision very early on. Previously, in the reroll world, the Devil Ancestor had also made arrangements, causing the Heavenly Court to slaughter the world. In the thousands of years after, the Devil Ancestor and the Devil race seemed to have stopped and did not make any move. Di Lantian slowly said, Do I have to cooperate with you? Yes. Even if you join forces with Hao Tian, you will still suffer a crushing defeat. You can't even defeat the eldest disciple of the human school. How can you win the calamity? Although the Emperor ancestral bell is strong, your cultivation level is insufficient. You can't display its full strength, he replied coldly. Delantion was silent. Clearly, the battle with Heavenly Court had dealt him a heavy blow. The cold eyes opened again and said, "The calamity has already lasted for thousands of years. The negative karma of the immortal world has also accumulated to a certain extent. Next is the true era of competition. Ordinary zenith heavens are not qualified to compete. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, who is behind the Heavenly Court, will appear. Nuwa Imperial Palace, which is behind the human race, will also take action. You have to choose your backing. Although I was expelled by the Heavenly Tao, I'm in existence who can compete with the Tao ancestor." Delantion stared at him and asked in a low voice, "But how do I know if the Golden Crow Divine Clan will become a puppet of the Devil race?" It was indeed the Devil ancestor. New chapters are published on Light Novel World. Kam Hanju was secretly shocked. Even the Devil race was about to enter the calamity. The Devil ancestor snorted. After experiencing the Heavenly Tao immeasurable calamity so many times, don't you understand? No race can completely dominate under the Heavenly Tao, including the humans. The humans seem to be the protagonists of the Heavenly Tao, but they are actually slaves that the sages earn their faith from. They're livestock raised by the immortals to ensure their status. What the Heavenly Tao really wants is for all living beings to be harmonious. The Devil race and the Golden Crow Divine Clan can control the immortal world together and attack the deity realm of the ruins of End. They can develop the dark forbidden zone. Instead of internal strife, it's better to become eternal allies. As long as you agree, I can lend you my power and let you become an invincible existence below the sages." Delantion's expression changed. The scene shattered. Hanju came back to his senses and frowned. Delantion had already been demonized, which meant that he had agreed to the Devil ancestor's proposal. From the Devil ancestor's words, he could guess that the peak of the calamity was about to arrive. In other words, the true slaughter was about to begin. Hanju could only pray for the Heavenly Court. Previously, the Heavenly Court had been going against the Devil race and had defeated Delantion. He would definitely find trouble with the Heavenly Court. Hanju thought for a moment and decided to use the Dark Nightmare to visit the Heavenly Emperor. He used the image of the Dark Forbidden Lord. The dream was a sea of clouds. Hanju and the Heavenly Emperor stood facing each other. The Heavenly Emperor was stunned for a moment before his gaze landed on Hanju. He narrowed his eyes and asked, "Dark Forbidden Lord?" He didn't seem surprised. Hanju didn't admit or deny it. Instead he said, "Delantion obtained the power of the Devil ancestor." The Heavenly Emperor frowned. He was filled with fear. It was not targeted at Delantion or the Devil ancestor, but towards the mysterious existence suspected to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. He could actually forcefully drag him into a dream. This method was unimaginable. Either this mystical power was extremely profound, or the other party's cultivation level far exceeded his. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover_new novels. No matter what, the Heavenly Emperor had to be careful. What's your attitude towards the Heavenly Court? The Heavenly Emperor asked expressionlessly. Although this dream came suddenly, it could not trap him. This was his confidence. What's your attitude towards the Heavenly Court? The Heavenly Emperor asked expressionlessly. Although this dream came suddenly, it could not trap him. This was his confidence. Hanju said, "The Heavenly Court is nothing to me. The foundation of the Heavenly Court is still too weak. The reason why I'm reminding you is that the Heavenly Court can attract the attention of all living beings. I don't want the Heavenly Court to collapse for the time being." Apart from posturing, there was nothing else. Hanju said this on purpose. What it meant in the Heavenly Emperor's ears was that it was none of his business. It was good enough as long as the Heavenly Emperor did not expect him to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. The Heavenly Emperor frowned again. These words could represent many meanings, but he couldn't eliminate the possibility that the other party would definitely not become enemies with the Heavenly Court. Hanju shattered the dream. The more he spoke, the more mistakes he would make, so he just stopped here. After returning to reality, Hanju didn't receive any notification that the Heavenly Emperor's favorability towards him had decreased. He had been thinking that if the other party had a favorable impression of him, but hated his other identity, how should he judge? From the looks of it, the system would choose the other party's impression of his main body. Hanju continued to use the derivation function and asked in his heart, I want to know if the Heavenly Emperor can survive this calamity. 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Yes, for the time being. For the time being. It meant that according to the current development, the Heavenly Emperor could live. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He felt that the Heavenly Emperor owed him too much. The Heavenly Emperor had died in the past few simulated calamities. How many years had Hanju sacrificed for the Heavenly Emperor? You can find the rest of this content on the light novel world.com platform. It was immeasurable. Hanju stopped thinking and continued cultivating next. He would try his best to derive the future as little as possible in case new changes happened. Of course, if it was about his own safety, Hanju would still try his best to find a way out. 20 years later, boom! Hidden Sect Island suddenly shook as if hit by a huge object. Hanju was awakened. He opened his eyes and saw a huge golden bell wrapped in black aura outside Hidden Sect Island. On the top of the huge bell stood a figure. It was Delantion. Why was this fellow here? Delantion looked down and muttered, the surrounding negative karma has all surged here. There's actually a formation that can resist the zenith heaven. Could it be someone's Dao field? Or a mystic realm? Hanju's voice sounded. Fellow Taoist, what do you mean? His tone was very impolite. He couldn't humble himself now. Hanju didn't want to use Jiang Yi's name. This would expose his identity in cultivation. Delantion asked in surprise. Who are you? You actually hid in the 9 Nether Purgatory alone. I'm Delantion of the Golden Crow Divine Clan. I'm now taking over the 9 Nether Purgatory. If you're willing to join us, I will welcome you. If not, please leave. Leave. Hanju smiled and asked directly. Can I continue cultivating after joining? Delantion smiled. Of course. A figure suddenly rushed out of Hidden Sect Island. It was Lu Bu the guard. He slapped the Emperor Ancestral Bell away. Delantion squatted down and used his dermic powers to stabilize the Emperor Ancestral Bell. He looked at Lu Bu with wide eyes. Zutu, why is it you? Lu Bu was expressionless. Delantion smiled and said, So you are hiding here. Then there's no problem. Pretend I've never been here. Continue cultivating. With that, he turned around and left. Visit Light Novel World.com for a better reading experience. Lu Bu returned to Hidden Sect Island. The Black Hell Chicken looked at Jiang Yi and cursed. Are your Golden Crow Divine Clan so unreasonable? The others were also rather displeased. Jiang Yi said awkwardly, It's just him, not me. He seemed to have forgotten that he had been so arrogant and fearless in the past. Inside the Khanate cave abode, Hanju began the simulation trial with Delantion. He wanted to see if Delantion's Emperor Ancestral Bell could break through the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. 5 minutes later, he opened his eyes. In terms of Dharma treasures, the Emperor Ancestral Bell could not break through the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. The reverse was the same. However, Delantion's cultivation was extremely strong, and he killed Hanju. He couldn't defeat this fellow. Hanju felt a strong sense of danger. No, the 9 Nether Purgatory was no longer safe. Although with Lu Bu around, he could block Delantion, he might not be able to block the entire Golden Crow Divine Clan. Hanju controlled Hidden Sect Island and started to escape. He didn't plan to leave the 9 Nether Purgatory for the time being, because he had no better place to go. If Delantion wanted to kill him, he had no choice but to let Jiang Yi appear. In a few months, a war broke out in the 9 Nether Purgatory. The Golden Crow Divine Clan fought against the Vermilion Bird race and the Jie School. Hanju saw from the emails that Jing Tiangong and Huang Zuantian were constantly being attacked. It seemed that the battle was very dangerous. Delantion was really arrogant. He actually wanted to occupy the 9 Nether Purgatory. Hanju had to curse him. If he succeeded, he would definitely find trouble with him in the future. 10 days later, the battle pressure of the 9 Nether Purgatory stopped. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. Hanju's lifespan had already decreased by 2 billion years, and Di Lantian didn't develop any mental demons. No, this fellow was already demonized. How could he develop a mental demon? However, it seemed that Hanju's curse had succeeded, forcing Di Lantian to stop fighting. In a flaming palace in the Golden Crow Divine Clan, Di Lantian was alone. His expression darkened. Beside him was the shrunken Emperor Ancestral Bell. The curse just now was so strong. It must be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Why would he target me? Could it be that the rumors are true? The Dark Forbidden Lord is hiding in the 9 Nether Purgatory? Or is he from the Jie school? The more Di Lantian thought about it, the more likely he thought it was. He had been in the 9 Nether Purgatory for a period of time. Why did the Dark Forbidden Lord only curse him when he fought with the Jie school? As for Zhu Tu, it was impossible for it to be him. Zhu Tu had been cursed by the Dark Forbidden Lord to the point of death. The Divine Palace was even taken over. Could it be a self-directed show? No, if this was all an act, the price was too high. Damn it. I still have to fuse with the Devil Ancestors Dao fruit first. I can't act rashly. Di Lantian's eyes flickered. He suddenly thought of something and smiled. On the other side, Jie school. In a palace, dozens of upper echelons of the Jie school gathered. Huang Zuantian was also among them. Jing Tiangong laughed and said, Di Lantian's aura was clearly strange during the battle. It must be the Dark Forbidden Lord cursing him. I've already said that the Dark Forbidden Lord is paying attention to us. He will support the Jie school. Everyone from the Jie school looked at each other. They didn't believe it in the past, but they did now after the previous battle. Originally, they could not defeat Di Lantian, but his dermic powers suddenly surged, and he was surrounded by the aura of misfortune. If it was not a curse, what was it? Huang Zuantian frowned. He was secretly shocked. This vice sect master really hooked up with the Dark Forbidden Lord? Was the sage of the Jie school not angry about this? Visit Light Novel World. For a better user experience, Jing Tiangong said. Di Lantian is full of ambition and still wants to occupy the 9 Nether Purgatory. It's simply intolerable by the heavenly Tao. We have to think of a way to destroy the Golden Crow Divine Clan. The strength of us and the Vermilion Bird race alone is not enough. We have to invite other forces. Hanju didn't know the internal commotion of the Golden Crow Divine Clan and the Jie school. After changing locations, Hanju entered his cultivation state again. Hanju didn't know the internal commotion of the Golden Crow Divine Clan and the Jie school. After changing locations, Hanju entered his cultivation state again. To prevent being discovered again, Hanju had no choice but to absorb the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus negative karma. After sparring with Di Lantian, Hanju felt the pressure. Although Di Lantian was at the Zenith Heaven realm and had obtained the power of the Devil Ancestor, Hanju felt that it was impossible to kill him. Looking at Li Daokong, even though he had just entered the Zenith Heaven realm, he had never been severely injured no matter what big shots he faced. No, I have to be stronger than Li Daokong. Hanju set another goal for himself. His combat strength had to surpass Li Daokong's. Li Daokong was the only person among Hanju's good friends who had never suffered a setback. Furthermore, this fellow was the most reckless. What did that mean? This meant that Li Daokong was extremely strong. His talent was stronger than all of Hanju's friends. The human school only had 2 disciples. The eyes of a sage were definitely sharp. With a goal, Hanju's fighting spirit became stronger. 7 years later, Hanju suddenly discovered that there were more and more living beings in the 9 Nether Purgatory. Hanju saw an email and realized that something was wrong. Your good friend Zhang Guxing has entered the 9 Nether Purgatory. Could the recent addition of living beings be the Divine Palace cultivators? The more Hanju thought about it, the more likely he thought it was. Di Lantian saw Lu Bu and mistook him for Zhu Tuesday. The Divine Palace was leaderless and was scattered by the Heavenly Court. When those Divine Palace cultivators heard that Zhu Tu was in the 9 Nether Purgatory, why wouldn't they come and seek refuge? Didn't Di Lantian want to dominate the Nine Nether Purgatory? Why did he reveal this information? Hanju felt that something was wrong. It was time to run. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover _new novels. Hanju immediately controlled Hidden Sect Island to break through the space of the Nine Nether Purgatory and forcefully return to the Netherworld. The current Nine Nether Purgatory space was weak. Ordinary immortal emperors could enter and leave as they pleased. Hanju sent a voice transmission to Liu Bei and asked him to bring Hidden Sect Island to find the so-called Dark Zone. Liu Bei immediately did as he was told. The Hidden Sect Island was only the size of a stone. Being grabbed by Liu Bei, it instantly fell into darkness. The disciples of the Hidden Sect felt that the island was moving quickly. What's going on? We seem to have left the Nine Nether Purgatory. The Black Hell Demon Lord asked in shock. The Black Hell Chicken rolled its eyes at him and said angrily, "Brother, do you have a dog's brain? More and more people are finding trouble with us recently. We must be running away. Liu Bei has already gone out. He must be leading the way." The Black Hell Demon Lord's face turned ashen. Although the Black Hell Chicken made sense, it was too disrespectful. The chaotic heavenly dog said angrily, "You're not allowed to insult dogs." Li Yao heaved a sigh of relief. She had long felt that the Nine Nether Purgatory was not safe. Fortunately, Hanju also realized this. Jiang Yi asked curiously, "Where do you think we'll go next? Could there be a place more peaceful than the Nine Nether Purgatory?" The others also guessed. Hanju heard their conversation, but didn't say anything. His divine sense kept staring outside, afraid that something would happen to Liu Bei. Not long after Hidden Sect Island left the Nine Nether Purgatory, another large faction descended. The Nine Nether Purgatory was in chaos. 5 years later, Liu Bei finally arrived at the mysterious space with Hidden Sect Island. Then, Hanju asked him to return to the island. After entering the island, Liu Bei heaved a sigh of relief. He had been extremely nervous in the past 5 years, afraid that he would encounter a powerful enemy. The current netherworld was extremely chaotic. Other than ghosts, there were also living beings from the immortal world, who came to avoid the calamity. The King of Hell seemed to be unable to control the order. Liu Bei had seen many battles along the way. Hanju controlled the Hidden Sect Island to continue forward. At the same time, he thought to himself, "Is this dark forbidden zone safe to place my Dao field?" These were 2 questions. The most up-to-date novels are published _here Light Novel World. 1. Was it the dark forbidden zone? 2. Was it safe? Safe for the time being. This time, the system did not deduct his lifespan. It seemed that there was no need to derive it. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He could finally hide again. To prevent anyone from entering through the entrance Liu Bei had discovered, Hanju controlled Hidden Sect Island to turn left and right in the dark forbidden zone, while checking the surrounding enemies. No powerful enemies. Not even a single living being could be seen. It seemed like there was really no one in the dark forbidden zone. Hanju was very curious about the absence of living beings. He extended his divine sense and discovered that his divine sense dissipated the moment it left the island. His senses could not spy on the dark forbidden zone. This was extremely terrifying. Hanju had to stop. He was afraid that he would faint and not be able to find a way out in the future. No, he had the derivation function. It was not difficult for him to go out. Hanju sent a voice transmission to everyone from the Hidden Sect. "We've arrived at the dark forbidden zone. Continue cultivating." Most of the disciples had never heard of the dark forbidden zone and couldn't help but be curious. Morongqi sighed. To come to the dark forbidden zone to avoid the calamity, Grandmaster is truly daring. Lu Huaxiu, the reincarnated Purple Star Emperor, asked curiously, "Is the dark forbidden zone very dangerous?" "It's not dangerous. On the contrary, there's nothing here. It's actually not dark either, but it's impossible to spy on. It's like being in complete darkness. So it's called the dark forbidden zone. There's no immortal qi here, so it's not suitable for cultivation. However, our island produces immortal qi. There's no need to worry about that." Morongqi shook his head. Diamond Rage said, "I've also heard of the dark forbidden zone. This place is outside the heavenly Tao. It's said that if you stay here for too long, you can't even return to the heavenly Tao. You will be expelled. When Hanju heard this, he couldn't help but ask in his heart, if I stay in the dark forbidden zone for too long, will I be expelled by the heavenly Tao? 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. He was going to spend his life again. Hanju gritted his teeth and chose to continue. No, the Tao field can isolate the corrosion of the power of darkness. The power of darkness? What kind of power was this? 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 5 billion? Hanju thought for a moment and decided to forget it. In any case, he wouldn't be in danger for the time being. Just like that, Hanju started cultivating again. 20 years later, while cultivating, Hanju checked his emails. He was amused when he saw them. Your good friend Di Lantian was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure, X14. Your good friend Jing Tiangong was attacked by the Golden Crow Divine Clan, X3900. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked by the Golden Crow Divine Clan, X478. Your good friend Zhang Guxing was attacked by Jie School Cultivators, X8766. Your good friend Jing Tiangong was attacked by a Buddhist cultivator, X744. Your good friend Di Lantian was attacked by your good friend Jiang Dugu. The 9 Nether Purgatory was in chaos. Hanju admired his sense of danger. He had left very accurately. He had only left for a few decades when the 9 Nether Purgatory became chaotic. The Divine Palace, the Human School, and other mysterious forces interfered. The 9 Nether Purgatory had already become the second battlefield. Hanju happily absorbed the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Although he had left the 9 Nether Purgatory, the negative karma accumulated in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus could still let him cultivate for a long time. Dong visit Light Novel World. For a better reading experience. Hanju vaguely heard a bell. It was very weak, as if he was merely hallucinating. He immediately thought of Di Lantian's Emperor Ancestral Bell. This bell was worthy of being a heavenly Tao supreme treasure. Its sound could actually reach the dark forbidden zone, and was not afraid of the obstruction of the power of darkness. From the emails, Di Lantian and the Golden Crow Divine Clan were being beaten. Hanju didn't care about their lives as long as it didn't affect him. From the emails, Di Lantian and the Golden Crow Divine Clan were being beaten. Hanju didn't care about their lives as long as it didn't affect him. Hanju stopped thinking about the bell and focused on cultivating. Next was to break through to the 5 mystic divine origin. Sometime later, the Emperor Ancestral Bell sounded from time to time. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. Hanju was already very close to the 5 mystic divine origin. It hadn't been 200 years since his last breakthrough. Fortunately, he had comprehended life and death previously and saved decades of bitter cultivation. After arriving at the dark forbidden zone, the hidden sect island was no longer disturbed. The disciples of the sect entered the cultivation stage again to prepare for the next 100-year competition. Although there was no reward, they fought for reputation and attention. Anyone who made outstanding progress would definitely catch Hanju's eye and receive guidance. This was more attractive than rewards. Hanju looked at the emails. Most of them were about someone being attacked, but a few were about obtaining opportunities. The Heavenly Tao had already given out most of the benefits. Next, it was time to make the people who entered the calamity go mad. Hanju couldn't help but admire the Heavenly Tao. People knew that it was dangerous, but they had no choice but to pounce in without hesitation. Fortunately, he was not trapped in the Heavenly Tao. Otherwise, he would have died sooner or later. Since ancient times, how many people had surpassed the Heavenly Tao? He continued to cultivate. 5 years later, Li Yao had successfully become an emperor and reached the rank 1 immortal emperor realm. She didn't need to transcend the tribulation in the Tao field. This matter caused a stir in the hidden sect. The Black Hell Demon Lord, Jiang Yi, and Diamond Rage sensed danger. These juniors' potential was too strong. They had no choice but to work hard. Another 10 years passed. Hanju called Li Yao into the cave abode. Li Yao had just consolidated her cultivation realm, and her temperament was even colder. However, she was very excited and looking forward to it. Updated _ at Light Novel World. She was looking forward to Hanju's praise. Hanju said, "A rank 1 immortal emperor is not enough. You can't be proud, understand?" Liao nodded. Hanju said, "I'll teach you another mystical power to increase your strength. I hope that you can grow up soon and protect the hidden sect Dao field." "Thank you, sect master. I won't let you down." Liao spoke very firmly. Although she was cautious by nature, she had already stayed in the hidden sect for a long time and had completely integrated into it. She felt a peace that she had never felt before here. She also did not want anything to happen to the hidden sect. Hanju began to teach her the mystical power. A year later, Liao left the Khanate cave abode. The others surrounded her and asked her what she had learned. "You'll know during the next 100-year competition," Liao said. Everyone rolled their eyes. This woman looked indifferent, but she was extremely competitive, as expected of a woman. 8 years later, in the midst of cultivating, Hanju sensed that Xing Hongxian was using the invocation technique. He stepped into the black vortex and came to her chamber. Xing Hongxian was the only one in the palace. Hanju came to the bed and sat down. He looked at Xing Hongxian. This time, she did not approach him without another word. Instead, she had a solemn expression on her face. "What's wrong?" Hanju asked. Xing Hongxian bit her lips and said, "The humans have rushed to the 9 heavens to prepare to attack the heavenly court." Hanju nodded. He was not surprised as he had already seen the situation. Xing Hongxian asked, "The current human race's great emperor has gathered all the cultivators above the immortal realm. I have to go too, but the heavenly court seems to have a close relationship with you. Husband, do you think I should go?" Compared to the will of the human race, she was more concerned about Hanju's attitude. Hanju rolled his eyes and said angrily, "Why are you asking me now? I asked you to come back, but did you?" Read at Wuxia World. Xing Hongxian curled her lips and said, "I want to grow up on my own. If I stay under you, I'll always be your burden. If you care about the heavenly court, I won't be their enemy." Hanju fell into deep thought. He only cared about the heavenly emperor, not the heavenly court. If Xing Hongxian didn't go, she would definitely be rejected by the humans. Hanju said, "The heavenly court has a deep foundation. If you participate, it's best to fish in troubled waters. Don't be too serious. Protecting your life is the most important." Xing Hongxian rolled her eyes. "Actually, there's another way to avoid it, but I've been worried." "What way?" "I can go and try the mystic realm left behind by Sage Niwa. If I succeed, the human race will support me and won't dare to let me take any risks." Xing Hongxuan's tone was filled with anticipation. Hanju frowned slightly. He instinctively wanted to reject, but he had already checked earlier. Niwa only wanted to develop a good relationship with him. To a mortal like Xing Hongxian, could there be a greater inheritance than one from a sage? Xing Hongxian seemed to see through Hanju's concerns and couldn't help but say, "This is a mystic realm that has been passed down for a long time. It didn't appear recently." Hanju asked, "You want to go?" Xing Hongxian nodded seriously. She also wanted to become stronger. Hanju said, "Then I'll teach you some mystical powers first." Xing Hongxian immediately beamed. She pounced into Hanju's arms and smiled. "Husband is the best. Impart them to me next month. For now let's kneel." "Yes, husband." A year later, Hanju returned to the Khanate cave abode. He sat on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and thought, "I want to know Xing Hongxuan's situation after the calamity ends. 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue?" New chapters are published on Light Novel World. Comment. Why had it increased to 1 billion years? This was the price of deducing a zenith heaven. Hanju immediately chose to continue. Immediately after, his consciousness entered the illusion. Hanju opened his eyes again and came to the streets of a city. People came and went, and it was extremely bustling. Everyone was looking up at the sky. Hanju also looked up and was shocked. Countless silver-armored soldiers floated in the air. All of them were extraordinary and looked like heavenly soldiers. There were also many human mighty figures meditating. Hanju's gaze passed through countless silver-armored soldiers and saw a golden bench above the sea of clouds. A blue-robed woman leaned on it. It was Xing Hongxian. Xing Hongxuan's blue robe was embroidered with dragons and phoenixes. Her face was exquisite, and she wore a pearl crystal crown. Her gaze looked down on the world, looking down on it. Her eyes were mixed with disdain, joy, and spirit. What was going on? This woman became the human emperor? Hanju was dumbfounded. Although Xing Hongxuan's potential after reincarnation was not bad, he had never thought that this woman could really rise up. Hanju wanted to continue watching when the scene shattered, and his consciousness returned to reality. That's it. I didn't see clearly. Is it really her? Hanju complained in his heart. He was very dissatisfied. Immediately after, another line of words appeared in front of him. It was Xing Hongxuan's introduction. Xing Hongxian, cultivation unknown. Immeasurable emperor, empress of the human race, disciple of a sage, Tao companion of the sect, master of the hidden sect. That amazing? Her being the immeasurable emperor meant that Xing Hongxian would enter the calamity and emerge victorious? Hanju frowned. He didn't know if he should be happy or worried. This should be the introduction of the future Xing Hongxian. In other words, Xing Hongxian would definitely succeed in exploring the Nuwa mystic realm. Follow new_episodes on the Light Novel World.com platform. A single immeasurable calamity had allowed her to reach the zenith heaven realm. Was the inheritance of a sage so powerful? A single immeasurable calamity had allowed her to reach the zenith heaven realm. Was the inheritance of a sage so powerful? Hanju was shocked by the future Xing Hongxian. This improvement was too exaggerated. However, Hanju noticed something. What did the Tao companion of the sect, master of the hidden sect, mean? At that time, Hanju's status was already comparable to the immeasurable emperor, the disciple of a sage, the empress of the human race, and more. Perhaps he was even stronger. Thinking of this, Hanju was proud, as expected of the woman he liked. Not bad. This was the first time Hanju had experienced the providence of the people around him in the calamity. Furthermore, it was not those geniuses or peerless mighty figures. It was Xing Hongxian, who he had always thought was mediocre. In that case, I don't have to worry. Hanju shook his head and laughed. Then he entered his cultivation state. He couldn't let Xing Hongxian catch up to him. Even the people around him could catch up to him. How could that be allowed? Time passed. 50 years passed quickly. Ever since he moved to the dark forbidden zone, Hidden Sect Island had not encountered any trouble. The outside of the island was terrifyingly silent. There was nothing. Hanju cultivated with all his heart, and finally welcomed the opportunity to break through. Before Hanju broke through, he checked his emails. He hadn't read the emails for 20 years, and had almost forgotten to pay attention to the immortal world. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by your good friend Di Lantian. Your good friend Jing Tiangong was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your grand disciple Feng Liang was attacked by the Golden Crow Divine Clan's god. X3072. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by the Qilin race. X14097. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was attacked by a Heavenly Court mighty figure. Your good friend Xing Hongxian has obtained the sage's inheritance. Her providence has increased greatly. New_chapters are published on Light Novel World.com. Your disciple Su Qi trespassed into the Heavenly Tao domain and suffered a backlash. He was severely injured. Your good friend Jiang Dugu has entered the deity realm of the ruins of End. The battle had begun. Hanju noticed that the Heavenly Emperor was attacked by a Heavenly Court mighty figure. Which traitor was causing trouble? However, the Heavenly Emperor was not severely injured, so Hanju couldn't be bothered. The Heavenly Emperor was the Heavenly Emperor, after all. He didn't need to be a nanny. Hanju saw Su Qi's actions and couldn't help but feel helpless. Why did this kid always want to come back? He wasn't attacked either. He was constantly facing the backlash of the Heavenly Tao, who asked you to go out and still want to come back. Hanju had no intention of helping Su Qi. He didn't have the ability either. After arriving at the dark forbidden zone, it was very difficult for the commotion in the immortal world to spread here. Only Di Lantian's Emperor ancestral bell could produce a sound, and it was very weak. From the emails, Hanju couldn't know the exact situation of the heavenly court. It was fine as long as the heavenly emperor did not die. Hanju had already paved so many paths for the heavenly court. It was time they rely on themselves. After reading the emails, Hanju started to break through about 4 years later. Hanju successfully broke through. Name: Hanju, lifespan: 5,679/669,999,999,999,999,999,999. Race: primordial fiend celestial. Cultivation: 5 mystic divine origin. Technique: primordial chaos reincarnation. Great Tao, heavenly cycle body tempering. Great Tao of life and death. Great Tao of karma. 5 mystic divine origin. His lifespan had increased by nearly a third. Follow new episodes on the light novel world.com platform. Hanju's divine origin dermic powers transformed, and the strength of his divine sense also increased. He began to consolidate his cultivation, spending another 3 years. After his cultivation stabilized, Hanju didn't squander his lifespan. Instead, he increased his various mystical powers and his strength. He discovered that after coming to the dark forbidden zone, he could no longer enter the Sword Tao River, but his Sword Tao mystical powers could still become stronger. In other words, in the dark forbidden zone, he could bypass Li Daokong and raise his mystical powers to the limit. The first thing he comprehended was unparalleled sword qi. Every time he broke through, Hanju's understanding of the Sword Tao would deepen. With his top-notch comprehension of the Sword Tao, he could always break through the limits of the Sword Tao mystical power. At the same time, everyone from the hidden sect turned to look at the Khanate cave abode. They could all sense a powerful pressure. Jiang Yi was secretly shocked. What is he doing? Did he break through again? Chu Shuren was deep in thought. The others had different expressions. The Black Hell Chicken looked at Tao Comprehension Sword and smiled. In the past, when Master broke through, he always chased you out. Now it's difficult for you to even enter. Who asked you to act presumptuously and move out of Master's cave abode? Tao Comprehension Sword glared at it and said angrily, "What do you know? I'm afraid of disturbing Master. I think you're just lusting after Li Yao." Nonsense. Tao Comprehension Sword glared at the Black Hell Chicken as Li Yao's eyes turned hostile. Tu Linger sighed. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't leave. Morongqi looked at Chu Shuren and asked, "Do you see anything?" Chu Shuren closed his eyes and said, "I can't see anything." 2 years later, Hanju raised all his mystical powers to the limit. His Sword Tao mystical powers had all reached the Zenith Heaven mystical power level. Hanju used unparalleled sword qi and could instantly use up all the divine origin dermic powers in his body. It could be seen how terrifying the Zenith Heaven mystical power was. Hanju started the simulation trial. He would challenge Li Xianeo first. 10 breaths later, Hanju opened his eyes and was quite dissatisfied. Visit Light Novel World.com for a better user experience. He actually could not insta-kill Li Xianeo. No way. He was not strong enough. Although Li Xianeo's sword was not simple, Hanju's Dharma treasure was also very strong. If he couldn't insta-kill all the enemies in the deity realm, how could he compare to Li Daokong? Hanju deliberately ignored whether Li Daokong could kill all the deity realm experts before stepping into the Zenith Heaven realm. He had to set a goal for himself and spur himself on. Hanju challenged Li Daokong again. Li Daokong was not as powerful as he was now when he preached the Tao in the Great Ultimate Hall, but he still caused Hanju a lot of trouble. It took him an hour to win. Hanju was furious. If not for the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Li Daokong. No, he had to defeat Li Daokong. Hanju became excited and started to challenge Li Daokong again. After more than 10,000 battles, Hanju lost and won repeatedly. He discovered a fatal weakness of Li Daokong. This fellow was too arrogant. He didn't use his full strength at the beginning, and liked to show off to his enemies with fancy sword techniques. If Hanju used his full strength at the beginning of the battle, his chances of winning would be even higher. In the past, most of the candidates had unleashed their full strength from the beginning. Li Daokong was a rare exception. However, Hanju didn't feel that he had really caught up to Li Daokong. Ever since the end of the lecture in the Great Ultimate Hall, Li Daokong's strength had also been increasing. Before Hanju broke through to the Zenith Heaven realm, he shouldn't be his match. The Zenith Heaven mystical power is indeed powerful, but my dermic powers can't keep up. Hanju thought silently. He had the stellar primordial body. If even he was like this, other living beings couldn't use the Zenith Heaven mystical powers casually. The Zenith Heaven realm was extremely mysterious and profound. No matter if it was Dao techniques or mystical powers, once he stepped into the Zenith Heaven realm, it would be completely different. Hanju had also fought with Zenith Heaven experts. The most obvious characteristic of Zenith Heaven experts was that they were mysterious and unfathomable, as if they could not be injured. When the Zenith Heaven used a mystical power, he didn't even need to raise his hand. With a look, all techniques would be unleashed. After learning the Zenith Heaven mystical power, Hanju yearned for the Zenith Heaven realm even more. I have to hurry up and cultivate. I have to reach the Zenith Heaven realm in 1,000 years. No, 1,000 years is too ridiculous. I'll give myself 2,000 years. Hanju thought. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World.com platform. After confirming his cultivation goal, Hanju continued his seclusion. He was only separated from the Zenith Heaven realm by the 6 mystic divine origin, and was already very close. As Hanju became stronger, the disciples of the hidden sect also became stronger. About 7 years later, Tu Linger had succeeded in becoming an emperor. As expected of the hope of the Magus race, the 2 female disciples were the first to achieve the emperor realm, which was extremely exciting for the other male disciples. The other disciples began to cultivate diligently. In the blink of an eye, another 30 years passed. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed Hao Tian and Li Xianao. While cursing, he checked his emails. Your good friend Divine General was attacked by a Heavenly Court mighty figure and was severely injured. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure, X14. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by the true dragon race, X403322. Your good friend Zhou Fan was suppressed by your good friend Di Lantian and imprisoned in the sun. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has obtained the inheritance of your good friend Heavenly Emperor. He has learned an unparalleled mystical power. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked by the Golden Crow Divine Clan, X689. Your good friend Pan Xian has become a person facing the calamity. Hanju frowned. Internal strife in the Heavenly Court? Why did Feng Liang obtain the Heavenly Emperor's inheritance? Was he passing on the baton? Zhou Fan was actually suppressed by Di Lantian and not killed. It seemed that the current Zhou Fan was not simple. As for Pan Xian, wasn't this fellow very timid? Why did he become someone facing the calamity again? This fellow was an immeasurable emperor himself. He had once won great providence in the previous immeasurable calamity. Why had he entered the calamity again? Hanju looked at Pan Xian's attributes panel again. Pan Xian cultivation unknown. One of the first living beings after the creation of the universe. He has experienced the immeasurable calamity. As he is afraid of being discovered by the ancient master of calamity, he especially infiltrated the Sword Dao River. Due to your nature, he has developed an interest in you. Current favorability, 1 star. Oh, try the Light Novel World.com platform for the most advanced reading experience. So he was not an immeasurable emperor. He had only experienced the immeasurable calamity. I knew it. How can a coward like him win the immeasurable calamity? Hanju no longer paid attention to Pan Xian. Even if Pan Xian died, he was indifferent. Half a month later, Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune and asked in his heart, I want to know if the Heavenly Emperor can survive this immeasurable calamity. 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No. These 2 simple words were like a basin of cold water poured on Hanju's heart. Hanju showed a frown. Why did it become no? What happened? Hanju asked. I want to know who the greatest winner of this immeasurable calamity is. 3 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 3 billion years. This was at least a pseudo-sage. Hanju's heart trembled. Continue. Hanju felt dizzy and quickly entered the illusion. Above a ruined hall, a figure floated in midair. His body was surrounded by colorful lights like dragons and snakes. Isn't this Jade Emperor Zhou Yan? Hanju frowned. This fellow had indeed made a move. Wasn't he the backing of the Heavenly Emperor? He had won, so why was the Heavenly Emperor dead? Could it be that the Heavenly Emperor had been sacrificed by him? The more Hanju thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. A figure suddenly walked into the hall. It was the extremely heroic-looking Heavenly God General. Hanju didn't know the Heavenly God General personally. The Heavenly God General walked to Jade Emperor Zhou Yan and knelt down. He cupped his fists and said, "Your Majesty, Immortal Emperor Samsara has been executed." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan didn't even open his eyes as he said, "Clean up all the living beings in the Heavenly Tao and kill them all. I want to create a new Heavenly Tao world." "But the Heavenly Tao? I've already blocked the Heavenly Secrets. Go ahead." "All right." The Heavenly God General stood up and left. Hanju was furious. Why did he want to slaughter the world again? Were all these mighty figures who had won the immeasurable calamity mentally ill? The illusion shattered. Hanju's consciousness returned to reality. "I want to know why Jade Emperor Zhou Yan wants to kill the Heavenly Emperor," Hanju asked in his heart. He had learned his lesson. He could pay the price of one question to ask two questions. This way, he could confirm that the Heavenly Emperor was killed by Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. If that was the case, what was Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's motive? 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. It was nothing. Hanju entered the illusion again. It was that palace again, but it was not broken. Hanju guessed that this was the Numinous Palace. The Heavenly Emperor sat on a high throne. Dozens of immortals gathered in the hall. The Divine General Ji Xianxian, Feng Liang, Li Daokong, Li Xianao, and the others were also here. The Heavenly Emperor was expressionless. His eyes were extremely cold and flickered with killing intent. "Heavenly Emperor, are you really betraying me?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's voice suddenly sounded in the hall. It was difficult to find the source. The Heavenly Emperor said coldly, "I didn't betray you. You betrayed the Heavenly Court and the Heavenly Tao." The immortals in the hall looked around, most of them looking terrified. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan sneered. "Is the Heavenly Court the Tao ancestors or the Heavenly Taos? Is everything you control really for the Heavenly Tao?" The Heavenly Emperor said, "Your thoughts are too crazy. I won't destroy all living beings and help you create a Heavenly Tao world that belongs to you." Follow current _novel on Light Novel World. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan said coldly. "The sages have already tacitly agreed. Are you going to insist?" "I only believe in the Tao ancestor." "The Tao ancestor is long gone. He has already fused with the Heavenly Tao and is indistinguishable now. Then, I should protect the Heavenly Tao even more. You're courting death." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan said angrily. The Numinous Palace began to shake violently. The scene shattered. Hanju frowned. So, it was because their ideals were different that the Heavenly Emperor and Jade Emperor Zhou Yan fell out. Although this information was learned in the previous derivation, Hanju did not feel that it was a loss. At the very least, he knew that the Heavenly Emperor had died in the hands of Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Next he could counterattack. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was too similar to a villain. The standard of a villain was to destroy the world. Hanju felt that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan shouldn't be taking revenge on all living beings. He only had his own selfish desires, and created a Heavenly Tao world that belonged to him. Then wasn't he the Heavenly Tao? Dream on. Hanju caught something. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan said that the sages had tacitly agreed. If it was true, it would be terrifying. Could this be a game between the sages and the Tao ancestor? Everyone knew that the Tao ancestor was the mighty figure who spread the Tao of cultivation for all living beings in the Heavenly Tao. He was also the first sage in the world, and the guide of all living beings. Hanju guessed from the information he had obtained before that the reason why the Tao ancestor disappeared was probably to break through and become stronger to fuse with the Heavenly Tao. Wasn't overturning the heavenly Tao equivalent to overthrowing the Tao ancestor? The more Han Ju thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. This immeasurable calamity was becoming more and more dangerous. No, Han Ju had to hurry up and become a Zenith Heaven cultivator. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to protect himself. Han Ju took out the Heavenly Tao token and contacted the Heavenly Emperor. Soon the Divine Sense connection was successful. Your Majesty, how have you been recently? Han Ju asked directly. The Heavenly Emperor replied, It's all right. There was some trouble in the Heavenly Court, but it didn't affect me much. He sounded tired. By the way, I've decided to choose your grand disciple Feng Liang as the next Heavenly Emperor. I'm prepared to nurture him. The source of this _chapter, Light Novel World. The Heavenly Emperor's words were shocking. It frightened Han Ju so much that his hand trembled, and the Heavenly Tao token almost fell from his grasp. Feng Liang was the next Heavenly Emperor? Feng Liang was the next Heavenly Emperor? What was going on? Wasn't it the Divine General? Han Ju was surprised. This had exceeded his expectations. If Feng Liang became the Heavenly Emperor, it would be even harder for the hidden sect and the Heavenly Court to sever ties. The Heavenly Emperor wanted to tie him to them? The Heavenly Emperor said, The Heavenly Court needs a new Heavenly Emperor. It would be best if he was a weak puppet that can make the other factions let down their guard. I will stay behind the scenes and continue to support the Heavenly Court. The reason why the Heavenly Court has always been troubled internally and externally is that I have always been in the open. Oh, you actually know that? Han Ju wanted to retort, but he held back. Puzzled, he asked, You're only giving way. How can the enemy relax? I will fake my death. Who will kill you? Han Ju had a bad feeling. Dark Forbidden Lord. Han Ju almost cursed. Why is it me again? Why am I taking the blame? Han Ju suppressed his anger and asked, Won't this benefit the Dark Forbidden Lord? Too many mighty figures have died in his hands. I want to support the Dark Forbidden Lord. The Heavenly Emperor's tone was filled with pride. Han Ju was speechless. He didn't dare to speak for the Dark Forbidden Lord. He was afraid of exposing himself. Thus he could only agree. The Heavenly Emperor said, I'm telling you to be at ease lest you worry after knowing that I've died. I understand. Be careful, Your Majesty. His divine sense was severed. Try the Light Novel World. Platform for the most advanced reading experience. Han Ju put down the Heavenly Tao token and fell into endless worry. He didn't want to enter the calamity, but it was fate. Although Han Ju was cautious and even timid, no matter who threatened his life, he would not be merciful. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin was prepared to slaughter the world. This would definitely threaten him. Although Han Ju had already hidden in the Dark Forbidden Zone, his disciples and Tao companions were still in the immortal world. In addition, the myriad worlds were gone. Who could guarantee that Jade Emperor Zhou Yin would not target the Dark Forbidden Zone? After slaughtering all living beings, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's cultivation level would definitely increase. The entire providence of the Heavenly Tao would be injected into his body. So how could he not be strong? He had to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yin. Han Ju's eyes became firm. But before that, he had to become a Zenith Heaven cultivator first. Then, Han Ju closed his eyes and continued cultivating in the dark and mysterious universe. A huge sun burned. There was a figure on the surface of the sun, like sand. It was extremely tiny. He was wrapped in chains and could not break free. This person was Zhou Fan. He was naked and his muscles were arched. His face was sinister as he endured unimaginable torture. Di Lantian's voice suddenly sounded. Have you thought it through? Zhou Fan roared, Get lost. I won't accept you. Di Lantian smiled teasingly. It's very simple for me to kill you. With a breath you will die. Your fate is rough. Are you really willing to let go of everything you've worked so hard for? Zhou Fan's eyes turned red as he cursed. What do you know? I'm fighting for dignity. Di Lantian was silent. At this moment, the true sun flame on the sun increased in intensity and burned Zhou Fan, causing him to roar in pain. There was no fear in Zhou Fan's eyes, only endless anger. For some reason he suddenly thought of Han Ju. If it was Han Ju, would he submit? No. Hanju was a very determined person. In the past, no one could shake Hanju's will. In the past, he thought that Hanju was only timid. Later, when an immortal descended into the mortal world and cleaned up the mortal world, Hanju stood up. At that moment, he understood something. Hanju was never timid. He only had his own ideals. I can't let him look down on me. I still want to surpass him. Zhou Fan gritted his teeth as he thought. Strange red patterns appeared on his body, and he began to absorb the true sun flame. Follow current_novel on Light Novel World. Calm time flew. 40 years passed. Hanju had been cultivating in seclusion and attempting to reach the sixth mystic divine origin. Until this day. Dark Forbidden Lord, you cursed the heavenly court and harmed me. I'm willing to curse you with the providence of the heavenly emperor. Even if I die, I will not hesitate. The heavenly emperor's voice suddenly sounded, his tone filled with anger. Hanju couldn't help but sigh. What a good actor. He saw an email. Your good friend heavenly emperor died. Fortunately, he left a trace of his soul in the supreme treasure. A big shot was a big shot indeed. He managed to deceive everyone. Hanju guessed that there was probably going to be a golden rain again in the myriad worlds, and the phenomenon of zenith heaven dying. Soon Hanju saw another email. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has become the heavenly emperor of the heavenly court, and obtained the providence of the heavenly emperor. Heavenly Dao merit has been granted. He had really become the heavenly emperor. Hanju had mixed emotions. He didn't expect the next heavenly emperor to be Feng Liang. In his opinion, it would be either the divine general or Hao Tian. Could it be that the divine general had been severely injured not long ago? Hanju didn't think too much about it. After confirming that the heavenly emperor's portrait was still there, he continued cultivating at the same time. Everyone from the hidden sect was also discussing this matter. The death of the heavenly emperor had too great an impact. It also involved the Dark Forbidden Lord. This Dark Forbidden Lord is too strong. Does he want to challenge the entire immortal world alone? The Black Hell Chicken shouted. Morongqi sighed. The heavenly emperor is very strong. The Dark Forbidden Lord is indeed not simple. Liao asked. Could he be acting? Is he trying to avoid danger? Chu Shuren said. Not really. If he acts like this, Heavenly Court's providence will also decrease. Aren't they afraid of being kicked by the enemy? The others were also discussing, and had different opinions. Read at Wuxia World. Yu Hanju had made up his mind to cultivate, so he didn't pay attention to the commotion in the immortal world. He didn't even visit Feng Liang in his dreams. Feng Liang's unwillingness to return had already indicated his will. Even if Feng Liang died outside, Hanju wouldn't care. He didn't know Feng Liang anything. On the contrary, the person he saved the most was Feng Liang. He was even more troublesome than women. If not for Hanju, Feng Liang would have died countless times already. About 17 years passed. Hanju, who was cultivating, was suddenly woken up. Someone was summoning him from the chaotic domain. Hanju thought for a moment and still decided to meet Dao Sovereign. After not seeing him for so many years, was he going to give him another opportunity? Arriving in the dark chaotic domain, Hanju saw Dao Sovereign's figure. The two of them couldn't see each other clearly. Apart from Dao Sovereign, there was another figure. A newcomer? Dao Sovereign said. This is a fellow Taoist who has just awakened his chaotic physique. He's from the human race. Hanju sized up this figure. He couldn't tell if it was male or female, nor could he see its true appearance. Hanju nodded slightly, and didn't say anything. The human prodigy did not seem to be good with words. He did not say a word. This time, Dao Sovereign said. Could it be another opportunity? Hanju interrupted him and asked. Dao Sovereign was embarrassed. Hanju's eyelids twitched. Really? He directly left the chaotic domain. Dao Sovereign fell silent. The human prodigy couldn't help but say, he isn't giving you face? Who is he? He's too arrogant. Dao Sovereign coughed and said, I looked for him twice before, but he rejected me both times. In the end, I still had to rely on him to escape. He thought that all my opportunities meant danger. The human prodigy was silent. After a long while, the human prodigy said, Sorry, Brother Dao. I'm not going either. Dao Sovereign. He coughed and said, There won't be any danger this time. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better reading experience. What if there is? We can use the chaotic domain to let that fellow Taoist save us. Are you serious? After returning to reality, Hanju thought silently. Who was the person who awakened the chaotic physique just now? After returning to reality, Hanju thought silently. Who was the person who awakened the chaotic physique just now? He had to understand it first. If it was an enemy, he had to kill them as soon as possible. If it was not an enemy, he could stay alert in the future and not offend them easily. 80 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. It was only 80 million. It seemed that this fellow was not strong. At most he was at the deity realm. A line of words appeared in front of Hanju. Zhao Xinyuan, 3 mystic divine origin, descendant of the human emperor, disciple of a sage. When he was born, he fused with the soul of a human emperor. After being modified by the human race, he developed the chaotic physique. He has great providence, and is destined to be the human emperor. Disciple of a sage. His background was not simple. It seemed that this fellow would become the big shot of the next era. Hanju thought silently, and didn't feel anything special. 3 mystic divine origin was too average. As long as one's cultivation was weaker than his, it was impossible to surpass him. After cultivating until now, Hanju still had this confidence. What was the chaotic physique? He had the primordial physique. It was very difficult to compare to big shots in terms of strength. But in terms of potential, what was there to be afraid of? In the same realm, Hanju had the fastest potential and cultivation speed. This was unless the heavenly Tao opened a back door for them. Then, Hanju closed his eyes and continued cultivating. He had to reach the 6 mystic divine origin within 300 years before he could break through to the zenith heaven realm. On the other side, follow new_episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. The situation in the immortal world changed. The death of the heavenly emperor caused turmoil in the heavenly court. Many immortals and gods betrayed the court. After so many years, the new heavenly emperor Feng Liang became a joke because he was only an immortal emperor. For a time, more and more living beings looked down on the heavenly court. The dark forbidden lord became a hot topic of discussion in the heavens again. It lasted for a long time. 17 years was a long time for the mortal world, but it was very short in the immortal world. Feng Liang had just taken over, and was troubled about how to be a good heavenly emperor. Numinous Palace. The immortals gathered and looked at Feng Liang, who was sitting on the emperor's throne. He had already put on the heavenly emperor's robe, and his temperament had become oppressive. Li Daokong, Li Xianao Ji Xianshen, Huang Jihao, the divine general, the heavenly god general, the martial god general, and so on stood hundreds of figures in the hall. Ji Xianshen stared at Feng Liang in encouragement. Feng Liang slowly said, "This is the first time I'm an emperor, and I'm here to face the calamity. From now on, I still have to discuss everything with you immortals. However, there's one thing. The heavenly court will always be the heavenly Tao's law enforcers. It will always be my duty to protect all living beings." The immortals knelt down and praised His Majesty for his wisdom. Only the 2 disciples of the human school did not kneel. Previously, when they faced the heavenly emperor, they did not kneel. After all, they were not from the heavenly court and were only helping them. Now the heavenly court should stabilize its current territory and stop fighting the humans for the time being. The immortals and gods should protect the humans. No matter what reason, we shouldn't be enemies with the entire human race. The immortals are not tyrants or butchers. Feng Liang continued, his words causing a commotion. Battling with the humans was the order of the previous heavenly emperor. Feng Liang had just ascended the throne and immediately changed the policy. It seemed that he was not easy to deal with. Li Daokong smiled. It was unknown what he was thinking, but many immortals looked at him. In the war against the humans, Li Daokong was the first supporter. "I think it's fine. I've already given the humans enough warning. The human school will support Heavenly Emperor Feng's arrangements." Li Daokong suddenly said, startling many immortals. Why did the human school suddenly change sides? Wait, Could it be? The immortals looked at Feng Liang and Li Daokong differently. No wonder Feng Liang could become the Heavenly Emperor. It was because of Li Daokong. The Heavenly Emperor probably wanted to tie the human school to the heavenly court. So he chose Feng Liang? For a time, the immortals no longer dared to underestimate Feng Liang. Follow current_novel on Light Novel World. Calm Feng Liang was expressionless, but he was also very surprised. He had thought that Li Daokong was difficult to deal with, but he actually supported him. What happened? Was it the Heavenly Emperor's arrangement? 30 years passed. Hanju had a sudden thought. He felt that the Heavenly Emperor was testing him by telling him the truth about his fake death. Soon the two of them entered a dream. The Heavenly Emperor did not panic when he saw the dark forbidden lord again. Hanju pretended to be mocking and said, "Do you think you can hide it from me by pretending to die?" The Heavenly Emperor asked, "How did you deduce it?" "Back then Zhu Tu also faked his death, but I made sure he died," Hanju said unfathomably. The Heavenly Emperor frowned slightly. He didn't suspect Hanju's words. With Zhu Tu's cultivation, it was indeed suspicious that he was cursed to death. However, after so long, Zhu Tu's fate had never been determined. It was very likely that he was dead. It was said that Zhu Tu's figure had appeared in the 9 Nether Purgatory, but he believed that it was a trap by the Golden Crow Divine Clan to lure the enemy in. It was the truth. After the cultivators of the Divine Palace entered the 9 Nether Purgatory, they never came out again. According to the disciples of the Jie school, they were all being suppressed by the Golden Crow Divine Clan. The Heavenly Emperor narrowed his eyes. "You want to target me? Aren't you the one targeting me? Then what do you want?" "I want you to become my pawn." This was a method that Hanju thought of. If he didn't give him a motive, the Heavenly Emperor would sooner or later associate the Dark Forbidden Lord with him and keep targeting him. The Heavenly Emperor frowned, his eyes burning with anger. Hanju said, "Actually, I want to protect the golden age of the heavenly Tao that the Tao ancestor created. It's better for you to be my pawn than a sage's pawn." Try the Light Novel World. Calm platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. The Heavenly Emperor's expression changed drastically. Hanju ended the dream after saying this. Sometimes the existence behind you can't be trusted, especially when facing the heavenly Tao. After returning to reality, Hanju was pleased with himself. The Tao ancestor was definitely the Heavenly Emperor's weakness. For the sake of the Tao ancestor, the Heavenly Emperor dared to risk his life against Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. At this moment, the Heavenly Emperor should have reached some sort of agreement with the Dark Forbidden Lord, right? The Tao ancestor has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 1 star. A line of words suddenly appeared in front of Hanju, scaring him. He quickly checked his interpersonal relationships. The image of the Tao ancestor was pitch black and was unique among his friends. Tao ancestor, cultivation unknown. Chaotic fiend celestial, the founder of the Tao, the will of the heavenly Tao, the ancestor of the sages, the eternal deity, the transcendent Taoist, the immeasurable Lord. Possesses countless Dharma avatars. A trace of his will in the heavenly Tao has heard that you are plotting for him and has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 1 star. Hanju's breathing quickened. Amazing. The Tao ancestor could even deduce what Hanju did in a dream? Could it be that everything was in the eyes of the Tao ancestor? The more Hanju thought about it, the more his blood ran cold. This was only a trace of will, but it was already so terrifying. Where was his true body? Fortunately, the Tao ancestor had a favorable impression of him, not hatred. Then again, the Tao ancestor liked to listen to flattery? No. The Tao ancestor should be paying attention to the Heavenly Emperor and happened to hear his heartfelt words. From the point of view of the Heavenly Tao, everything Hanju did was indeed protecting the heavenly court and the force created by the Tao ancestor. After thinking about this, Hanju felt no pressure. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World. Calm platform. He didn't harm the Tao ancestor. What was there to be afraid of? He couldn't let his disciples talk nonsense in the future. The Tao ancestor was still alive. Even if it was only a trace of will, It was still an existence that was unimaginable to all living beings. I still have to be careful. I'll try not to involve the Tao ancestor in the future in case I make more mistakes. I still have to be careful. I'll try not to involve the Tao ancestor in the future in case I make more mistakes. Hanju secretly thought that he couldn't be fooled by this one-star favorability. If he made the Tao ancestor unhappy, he might just die. However, the Tao ancestor should not be like that. The sage's plan was clearly targeted at the Tao ancestor's absence. If he was someone who would kill whenever he was unhappy, he wouldn't have fused with the heavenly Tao, much less create the heavenly court and the concept of immortal gods. Hanju stopped thinking and continued cultivating. Perhaps the Tao ancestor was watching him. The Tao field could block the divine sense of a sage, but the Tao ancestor was not a sage. But then again, the Tao ancestor was actually a chaotic fiend celestial. Did that mean that he was of the same generation as the giant god Pangu? Even if he hadn't died under Panga's hands back then, he had definitely been defeated, or he had not participated at all. However, he had surpassed them later on. As expected of the Grandmaster of the Seclusion Tao, 10 years later, Hanju checked his emails while cultivating. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by the true dragon race, X10228. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has received guidance from your good friend Li Daokong. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Dao Sovereign has entered the deity realm of the ruins of End. Your good friend Zhou Fan has absorbed the true sun flame. His body has transformed, and he is indestructible. Your good friend Di Lantian was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your good friend Duan Hongshan was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Xue Mingyi was attacked by your good friend Di Lantian. Your good friend Dao Ancestor's providence has decreased. Your good friend Dao Sovereign was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure, and was severely injured. He was trapped in the supreme treasure. Zhou Fan was counterattacking again. Hanju no longer complained about his experience. Instead, he looked forward to how far he could grow. The Tao ancestor's providence had decreased. This was something worth thinking about. The latest episodes are on the Light Novel World.com website. The providence of the Tao ancestor was the providence of the entire heavenly Tao. However, with the immense providence of the Tao ancestor, this decrease was nothing. Hanju continued reading. Dao Sovereign was beaten again. Serves you right. Bastard, you still want to drag me down. Hanju gloated, and even wanted to laugh. Serves you right. Immediately after, he became worried. Would this fellow ask him for help again? The more Hanju thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. He continued to read the emails. The situation in the heavenly court was still good. After the heavenly emperor changed, the heavenly court was not surrounded. On the contrary, the Golden Crow Divine Clan and Longhouse Dragon Court seemed to have become everyone's target. It was also possible that they were the invaders and had a high screening rate. Ever since the heavenly emperor faked his death, Hanju had been much more relaxed. At least the heavenly emperor was halfway out of the calamity. After reading the emails, Hanju continued cultivating. It was really good to stay in the dark forbidden zone. It had been a long time since Hidden Sect Island had encountered trouble. The disciples of the Hidden Sect did not feel bored. They were all secretly competing. An invisible conflict surged in the Hidden Sect Island. It was worth mentioning that the reroll world in the depths of Hanju's soul had also been developing as Hanju became stronger. The connection between the reroll world and the heavenly Tao weakened. Hanju's divine origin dermic powers would divert a portion to support the reroll world. Unknowingly, Hanju seemed to want to eliminate the heavenly Tao's effect on the reroll world. One day, the reroll world would completely belong to him. Under the management of the white-robed Buddha, the reroll world had always been flourishing. The world was also expanding, all thanks to Hanju's divine origin dermic powers. The white-robed Buddha rarely looked for Hanju. He also knew that unless there was something important, he couldn't disturb Hanju. After so many years, the Jade Pure Sacred Sect had already become the #1 holy land in the reroll world. Taoist Nine Cauldrons had long retired. The sect master had already changed 7 times. Some had died, and some had only retired to cultivate. In the entire reroll world, only the Jade Pure Sacred Sect had greater karma with Hanju. The white-robed Buddha was very sensible. 20 years later. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. Calm Hanju was cursing Li Xianao when he suddenly sensed that someone in the chaotic domain was summoning him. It was unknown if it was Zhao Xianyuan or Dao Sovereign. Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune and entered the chaotic domain with his consciousness. He wanted to hear how miserable Dao Sovereign was. Dao Sovereign and Zhao Xianyuan were both there. Hanju smiled and asked, "The Heavenly Court has already changed the Heavenly Emperor. Who do you want me to find to save you?" Dao Sovereign was furious. "What do you mean? Do you really think I need saving?" "No need." Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. Dao Sovereign snorted. "Who do you think I am? I discovered the Dao literature left behind by the Dao ancestor in the deity realm of the ruins of End. This is a huge opportunity." Hanju said, "I'm not going." "Really? It records a Zenith Heaven technique." "No, I'm not going." "Do you think I'm lying to you? Then do you need me to save you?" "No need." Dao Sovereign was furious. Hanju was looking down on him. Zhao Xianyuan, who had not said a word, couldn't help but say, "Brother Dao, stop pretending. I can't hold on anymore. Call for help." He looked at Hanju and said, "We indeed discovered the Dao literature. The restrictions are too strong. We wanted to go back and call for help, but we were stopped by a Zenith Heaven expert on the way. He deduced that we had karma with the Dao literature. There was no need to say anything else. It was just a confession." Hanju said, "You should tell the truth. I'm helpless." The current Heavenly Court couldn't save Dao Sovereign. Dao Sovereign said, "You can think of a way to contact Li Daokong. He will definitely be interested." Hanju said, "You can't always ask me for help, right? You have to pay something." Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Dao Sovereign fell silent. Zhao Xianyuan said, "If we're saved, we're willing to share the Dao literature with you. Can we share it directly in the chaotic domain?" "Yes, but not now. We haven't had time to comprehend it." After Hanju agreed, he hurriedly left the chaotic domain. After returning to reality, Hanju took out the Heavenly Dao token and started to use his dermic powers. After the Heavenly Emperor left, this token should have been given to Feng Liang. Soon his divine sense connected. A familiar voice sounded, "Grandmaster." It was Feng Liang. His voice trembled, clearly nervous. Hanju asked, "How does it feel to be the Heavenly Emperor?" Feng Liang smiled bitterly. "Not good. I'm under a lot of pressure. Actually, I didn't want this, but..." Sigh. He couldn't help but feel bitter. Hanju couldn't be bothered to ask. He directly told Feng Liang what Dao Sovereign had asked him to tell Li Daokong. As for whether Li Daokong would go or not, that was up to him. Hanju couldn't care less. "No problem." Feng Liang agreed readily. He paused and asked, "What's your relationship with Li Daokong?" "He admires you and hopes to see you again." Hanju replied, "Help me thank him for his kind intentions. I'm avoiding the calamity. After the immeasurable calamity ends, I'll personally visit him and also go to the Heavenly Court." Feng Liang smiled and said, "All right, I'll give you the title of Heavenly Emperor to master. Don't be ridiculous. I don't want it. That's all, bye." Hanju hurriedly cut off the divine sense connection and continued cultivating. Heavenly Court. Feng Liang came to Li Daokong's palace and told him about Hanju's request. Updated _ at Light Novel World. Li Daokong asked curiously, "Where is your Grandmaster hiding? Why can't I deduce it? Could he be in the 9 Nether Purgatory? Or is it the Dark Forbidden Zone?" Feng Liang shook his head and said, "I'm not sure either. It shouldn't be the 9 Nether Purgatory. It's already in chaos. As for the Dark Forbidden Zone, is that place suitable for cultivation?" Hanju didn't know if Li Daokong had agreed to save Dao Sovereign. Even if he didn't, he was indifferent. Hanju didn't know if Li Daokong had agreed to save Dao Sovereign. Even if he didn't, he was indifferent. To be honest, Dao Sovereign deserved to die. His talent was considered top-notch in the immortal world. Yet he went around wandering. His death was not a pity. Jiangyi had already turned over a new leaf. When would Dao's sovereign be able to repent? He still had to come to Hidden Sect Island to change his ways. Hanju decided to kidnap Dao's sovereign in the future and educate him. He would become a member of the Hidden Sect in the future. The chaotic physique was qualified to enter the Hidden Sect. In the dark space on the sun, Zhou Fan was frantically absorbing the true sun flame. His entire body had turned into a flaming man, but his eyes were still clear as he stared into the darkness. Almost. Zhou Fan gritted his teeth and gasped. At this moment, a surprised voice sounded. You can actually absorb the true sun flame? How is that possible? Wait, why is the heaven-earth firmament cauldron in your soul? Dilantian's voice was filled with fear. Zhou Fan said coldly, What? Are you afraid? Who are you? Dilantian asked angrily. He appeared and looked down at Zhou Fan. He was clearly very nervous, and his body was trembling slightly. He was the leader of the Golden Crow Divine Clan, a Zenith Heaven cultivator. To make him so nervous, it could be seen that the heaven-earth firmament cauldron was not simple. Zhou Fan roared, I'm immortal. What? Are you afraid after seeing the heaven-earth firmament cauldron? Are you afraid? Di Lanyue's expression changed. Zhou Fan tried his best to calm down. His expression turned sinister as he smiled. You want to resolve karma? Then give me this sun. I want more suns. Otherwise, you can forget about resolving this karma. Let's see if you dare to accept it. Killing intent flashed across Di Lantian's eyes. He asked really? Zhou Fan smiled and did not reply. Di Lantian suddenly raised his hand. An endless true sun flame condensed in his palm. It quickly surged into a huge three-legged golden crow. He waved his hand, and the enormous three-legged golden crow swooped down and swallowed the sun. Another 10 years passed. Hanju opened his eyes and started to check his emails. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better user experience. Your good friend Zhou Fan has awakened his divine soul. He has obtained the providence of the heaven-earth firmament cauldron. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by a deity realm mighty figure of the Golden Crow Divine Clan, and was severely injured. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your grand disciple Feng Liang was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Li Daokong has comprehended the Dao literature. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your disciple Hao Tian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Dao Sovereign was attacked by your good friend Li Daokong, and was severely injured. Only Zhou Fan attracted Hanju's interest. The other emails were not surprising. The heaven-earth firmament cauldron sounded impressive. If a Dharma treasure could show its name in the emails, it might be a heavenly Dao supreme treasure. Hanju asked curiously, why can Zhou Fan keep obtaining opportunities? 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 5 billion years? What the heck? Wasn't this higher than the price for Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's information? Could this guy be a sage? Deduce. Hanju was shocked, but he still gritted his teeth and activated it. I want to see what this fellow is hiding. Zhou Fan. Rank 3 Immortal Emperor, one of the sage's Dharma idols. He transformed into a mortal body in the cycle of reincarnation. His providence is hidden in the heaven-earth firmament cauldron. During his ascension, the heavenly Dao fused the heaven-earth firmament cauldron into the depths of his soul. Unless it is the heavenly Dao's divine sense, it cannot be seen. His true identity is the 7 Dao sage. Hanju was stunned. Zhou Fan was actually a sage's Dharma idol? No wonder his luck was so ridiculous. Wait. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World. Com platform. 7 Dao Sage. Isn't this my good friend? After the lecture in the Great Ultimate Hall ended, 4 existences who were at least sages had a favorable impression of Hanju. Ancestor Shitian Diju and Jade Bodhi 7 Dao Sage. Hanju immediately checked his interpersonal relationships. 7 Dao Sage, cultivation unknown. Great Dao Divine Spirit. He controls 7 Great Dao, and has experienced the Great Dao immeasurable calamity. He has lived in the deity realm of the ruins of End. Because you were praised by Ancestor Shitian, he has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability. 2 stars. No wonder the Seven Dao Sage had a better impression of him than ancestor Shitian and Jade Bodhi. Could it be related to Zhou Fan? Hanju fell into deep thought. Since Zhou Fan's background was not Hanju's enemy, he was not worried. In the previous derivation of the future, there had never been news of Seven Dao Sage. The great Dao divine spirit was clearly stronger than ordinary sages. He probably could not be bothered to fight for the providence of the immeasurable calamity. This fellow had experienced the great Dao immeasurable calamity. What was a mere heavenly Dao immeasurable calamity? It seems that those people who can't die no matter what have great origins. However, it shouldn't be a coincidence that they landed in the same mortal world as me. Hanju thought silently. I want to know if the Seven Dao Sage has any intention of harming me. 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Not for the time being. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. That's good. Continue cultivating. As the beings he interacted with became stronger and stronger, Hanju's sense of urgency increased. For an existence like the Seven Dao Sage, Hanju's curse was definitely a breeze. Not only did his cultivation level have to increase, but so did the Book of Misfortune. Follow new_episodes on the Light Novel World.com platform. In the Nine Nether Purgatory, Jie School. In a Taoist temple, Huang Zuantian knelt down respectfully in front of Jing Tiangong. Jing Tiangong smiled in relief and said, "It's been hard on you during this period." Huang Zuantian forced a smile and said, "I won't hesitate to serve the Jie School." He felt bitter. This sect was too troublesome. He had thought that he could avoid the calamity in the Nine Nether Purgatory. He didn't expect them to fight again. It was even more dangerous than the battles in the immortal world. Jing Tiangong said, "We have already reached an agreement with the Golden Crow Divine Clan. Next, I will return to the immortal world and ask the ancient mighty figures of the Jie School to help. From today onwards, you will control the Jie School in the Nine Nether Purgatory. With my sword as the token, no disciple will dare to disobey." He waved his right hand, and a bronze sword landed in front of Huang Zuantian. Huang Zuantian held his sword and frowned. "You plan to continue fighting with the Golden Crow Divine Clan?" Jing Tiangong said matter-of-factly, "Of course. If we can't even defeat the Golden Crow Divine Clan, how can we fight for the providence of the calamity?" Huang Zuantian's heart skipped a beat. Too uncomfortable. It wasn't over. Jing Tiangong said with deep meaning, "This calamity is extraordinary. It might cause the heavenly Dao to reshuffle. Our Jie School has to grasp it. Besides, other than our Jie School, I've also contacted the Dark Forbidden Lord. We can't lose." Didn't he just lose once earlier? Huang Zuantian cursed in his heart. He felt that Jing Tiangong had gone mad. The reason why he could reach peace with the Golden Crow Divine Clan was that the Jie School had given most of the Nine Nether Purgatory to them. Now the Jie School disciples had to squeeze into a small area. How could they maintain the reputation of a sage sect? "All right, you can leave. I'll leave in a few days." After saying this, Jing Tiangong closed his eyes. New_chapters are published on Light Novel World.com. Huang Zuantian bowed and left the Taoist temple. After leaving, his expression darkened. Although his authority had increased, he was also in danger. This was not good. 5 years later. 5 years later, Hanju, who was cultivating, sensed that Xing Hongxian was using the invocation technique. He stood up and stepped into the black vortex. Next, there was another commotion that lasted for half a year. Hanju tidied his clothes and walked to the table to sit down. He asked, "How's the situation in the immortal world recently?" He didn't dare to rashly extend his divine sense, in case a mighty figure guarding the human race would immediately capture him. Xing Hongxian replied, "Negative karma pervades the world. The people live in misery. Not to mention the humans, the other races are even more chaotic. With the constant killing, it feels like the primordial era." Xing Hongxian sighed. She had long heard that the immeasurable calamity was very terrifying. She didn't expect it to be to this extent. She had previously gone out with a group of human cultivators and seen true mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Hanju asked, "Are the humans still going to continue fighting with the heavenly court?" "No, But the humans are clearly ambitious. I wonder who their next enemy will be. Xing Hongxian sighed worriedly. She walked to Hanju's side and sat down. She started to pour him tea. This tea was not simple. It contained Khanate qi. One had to know that Xing Hongxian was still a grand unity golden immortal. So she only needed immortal qi. To be using this so early, how extravagant was that? The human race really thought highly of Xing Hongxian. By the way, do you know Zhao Xianyuan? Hanju asked. Xing Hongxian asked in surprise. Haven't you been in seclusion? How do you know Zhao Xianyuan? He's a peerless prodigy hidden among the humans. Like me, he has obtained the inheritance of a sage. Furthermore, he has an unprecedented chaotic physique. In my master's words, he's the person with the greatest hope of attaining the Tao below the heavenly Tao. Hanju shook his head and laughed. The heavenly court's Tao sovereign also has a chaotic physique, and he has yet to mature. Xing Hongxian smiled and said, Indeed, I also think that he's bragging too much. Compared to my husband, who does Zhao Xianyuan think he is? You don't know how proud he usually is. He doesn't even look at us directly. Was he that arrogant? Hanju thought about Zhao Xianyuan in the chaotic domain. Why did he seem so aggrieved? Hanju stopped thinking about him. Instead, he stared at Xing Hongxian and said, Try not to enter the calamity in the future. You can use the excuse of being a sage's disciple to cultivate in peace. The human race won't make things difficult for you. I know. Husband, what do you think of Empress Nuwa? Xing Hongxian changed the topic and asked curiously. This _ content is taken from Light Novel World. Hanju scolded. Don't talk about the sage behind her back. You should be grateful that you obtained her inheritance. Xing Hongxian stuck out her tongue and said in embarrassment, That's true. She wasn't stupid, and immediately understood what Hanju meant. She didn't believe that Hanju really respected anyone. This fellow even dared to fight against immortals when he was a mortal. Hanju was definitely afraid of the power of a sage. Xing Hongxian winked at him playfully. Hanju stood up and said, I'm leaving. Be careful. If there's any danger, use the invocation technique at any time. Xing Hongxian nodded, her heart filled with joy. She wasn't happy about Hanju's promise, but his attitude. Changyuer Emoju, how can you compare to me? After Hanju left, Xing Hongxian smiled proudly. After returning to the Khanate cave abode, Hanju didn't cultivate. Instead, he walked out of the cave abode and prepared to preach the Tao for the hidden sect. Seeing him walk out, the disciples stood up. The black hell chicken suddenly shouted, Master, why do you smell like a woman? I think it's Xing Hongxian. She had this scent when she came out of your cave abode before. Hanju glanced at it with a cold gaze, scaring it. With a thought, the aura vanished. The others pretended not to hear. Prepared to listen to the Tao. Hanju's words excited everyone. Another lecture. This lecture lasted for several years. Every time Hanju preached the Tao, everyone in the hidden sect would gain enlightenment, because his speed of improvement far exceeded others. After the lecture, Hanju continued cultivating in the blink of an eye. 32 years passed. Follow current _novel on Light Novel World. Hanju was getting closer and closer to the sixth mystic divine origin. The momentum of the world became more and more intense. Hanju's uneasiness increased. He wasn't in the immortal world, but he could feel it. Perhaps, he had already entered the calamity unknowingly. On this day, Hidden Sect Island suddenly shook, as if it had been hit by something. Hanju was shocked. He opened his eyes and saw that it was absolutely dark outside Hidden Sect Island. He couldn't see anything. His divine sense was useless outside. Boom! The Hidden Sect Island shook again. This time, even the people from the Hidden Sect panicked. What's happening? Enemy attack? Don't panic, the sect master is still here. Grandmaster didn't attack immediately. Could it be that there's a powerful enemy that we can't defeat? Senior Lubu isn't moving. Don't worry. Hanju asked in the cave abode. I want to know who attacked Hidden Sect Island. 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 2 billion years. Hanju gritted his teeth and chose to continue. He wasn't stingy but nervous. 2 billion years was still a zenith heaven. Inauspicious evil. The mysterious power of the dark forbidden zone. It is condensed from the grudges of the ancient chaotic fiend celestials. It hides the chaos and transforms into darkness. If you can withstand this for an hour, the inauspicious evil will retreat. An hour? Hanju frowned. Could the Tao field stop it? He could only wait patiently. Currently, the inauspicious evil did not invade Hidden Sect Island. It was only that Hidden Sect Island was shaking and looked to be in danger. Hanju sent a voice transmission to everyone, telling them to calm down. The source of this _chapter, Light Novel World. Calm hearing his words, everyone was relieved. Over the long years, Hanju had already become the pillar of support for everyone in the Hidden Sect. As long as he didn't panic, they didn't have to be afraid even if the sky collapsed. The collision sounds continued. Seconds passed. In the end, an hour passed and the inauspicious evil left. Hanju was secretly surprised. This inauspicious evil was only a power without consciousness? Previously, when he read the emails, he saw someone being attacked by the inauspicious evil. He really didn't know how that fellow survived. Perhaps there were strong and weak ones among them. Until now, Hanju didn't sense anything and only knew of their existence. This power was too mysterious. Even deity realm experts couldn't spy on it. The more Hanju thought about it, the more his blood ran cold. How many unknown and strange mysterious powers were hidden under the Great Tao? To prevent himself from being attacked by the inauspicious evil again, Hanju had no choice but to move to Hidden Sect Island. No wonder no one is hiding in the dark forbidden zone. This place is also dangerous. Hanju thought silently. After moving for a while, a line of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected bearer of Khanate Providence, check its origin. Khanate Providence? It had been a long time since Hanju saw this notification. He thought that this function had been abandoned by the system. He immediately chose to check. Strange deity, unknown existence. It has inherited the providence of the chaotic fiend celestial and has been nurtured for countless eras. It is about to become a spirit. It had inherited the providence of the chaotic fiend celestial. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover _new novels. Amazing. However, this name looked very dangerous. Hanju's first reaction was to stay away from it. Hanju wanted to escape directly, but he had a bold thought. This strange deity had yet to take form, and did not have intelligence. Could he take it for himself? No. If it was that easy, why didn't the sages do it? Hanju cautiously used the derivation function and asked in his heart, if I subdue the strange deity, will I be in danger? 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Not for the time being. These words appeared in front of Hanju. If I subdue the strange deity, will it involve the karma of anyone other than the strange deity? 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Was this worth spending his life? Hanju's heart started to bleed. However, the more this was the case, the more cautious he had to be. After all, he had a long lifespan. No other karma is involved for the time being. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He began the simulation trial, detected the strange deity, and fought with it. A second later, Hanju opened his eyes. He had an awkward expression on his face. The strange deity had no combat ability at all, and was insta-killed by him. He could tame it. After Hanju detected the strange deity's location, he directly used his divine sense to suck it into the cave abode. It was a ball of black aura. It was tall and floated in front of Hanju. It was extremely strange. The moment it entered, the temperature in the cave abode plummeted. The resurrection lilies withered rapidly. Shocked, Hanju hurriedly used the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus to suppress the strange deity, preventing all the resurrection lilies that had been nurtured for thousands of years from dying immediately after. Hanju discovered that the strange deity was like him, able to absorb negative karma. Amazing! Hanju began to look forward to its talent after transforming. Read at Wuxia World. EU. However, before that, Hanju had to use the 6 paths insignia to control it. The current strange deity didn't have intelligence. It didn't resist Hanju's 6 paths insignia at all. Why didn't anyone else discover the strange deity? Hanju thought in surprise. No one has captured the existence of a strange deity. So powerful? The system was still the best. Hanju thought silently. He suddenly thought of something, and called Dao Comprehension Sword in. Do you see what's in front of me? Hanju asked. The strange deity was between the two of them, with the evil light of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus shining on it. Dao Comprehension Sword replied. Your lotus throne is glowing? What else? Nothing. Dao Comprehension Sword looked confused, not understanding what he was asking. Hanju chased her out, and let the others in one after another. Soon he learned something. Apart from him, no one could see the strange deity or sense its aura. To the people of the hidden sect, the strange deity did not seem to exist. Even immortal emperors couldn't capture its existence. That was impressive. Hanju touched his chin and thought. Is it because of my stellar primordial body or the system? The system is only a support, not a mystical power. You're even more impressive than mystical powers. Hanju cursed silently. In other words, it was because his identity as the primordial fiend celestial was higher than the strange deity. But then again, what kind of existence was the system? Hanju asked in his heart. Is the system stronger than the Tao ancestor? The power of the system is based on your growth. The stronger you are, the stronger the system is. The current system can't resist the power of the Tao ancestor. Hanju was even more curious. Could the system be formed by some great the latest episodes are on the light novel world. Com website. Tao. If the system did not answer, he would not know. If he wanted to know the truth about the system, he had to become stronger. Hanju focused on the strange deity again. 10 years later, Hanju's 6 paths insignia was completely imprinted in the depths of the strange deity, and couldn't be erased. He continued cultivating. As for the strange deity, it was wrapped in his divine origin dermic powers. It was as if it was wearing a layer of clothes, and would no longer affect the resurrection lily. At first, the strange deity did not wander. As time passed, it began to take action. First, it floated slowly and approached Hanju. Then it looked at the 9 heavens galaxy water, and became more and more like a curious baby. In the blink of an eye, another 40 years passed. Hanju was already close to the 6 mystic divine origin. It had been more than 200 years since his last breakthrough. He had always maintained a good speed. After reaching the 6 mystic divine origin, he wouldn't be far from the zenith heaven realm. Hanju was very excited. The strange deity seemed to sense his emotions, and couldn't help but approach and rub his back. Hanju was amused. This fellow was massaging him? It was quite comfortable. Massage? Hanju felt that he could nurture it, and let the strange deity develop in this direction. He could still serve him while cultivating in the future. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that it was feasible. At this moment, Hanju felt that someone in the chaotic domain was summoning him. Other than Tao Sovereign, who else could it be? Hanju shook his head helplessly, and sent his consciousness into the chaotic domain. After arriving in the chaotic domain, Hanju was shocked to discover that the strange deity had followed him. It was also equivalent to the chaotic physique? No. This fellow's physique was higher than the chaotic physique, so it could enter the chaotic domain. Hanju was curious if Tao Sovereign and Zhao Xianyuan could see it. The latest episodes are on the light novel world. Com website. Tao Sovereign and Zhao Xianyuan were both here. When they saw Hanju, they immediately surrounded him. Thank you for your help, fellow Taoist. Zhao Xianyuan was the first to speak. His tone was very excited. Hanju was alerted. How long ago have you been saved? Why are you acting like you just got saved? There was definitely a trap. Tao Sovereign coughed and said, I owe you another favor. With your cautious personality, it seems that I will never be able to repay you. Hanju smiled and said, How can that be? Come and be my disciple. Tao Sovereign fell silent. He could accept being a subordinate of the heavenly court. But if he was a subordinate of Hanju, wouldn't he be a generation younger? He saw Hanju as his opponent. Seeing that this fellow didn't reply, Hanju couldn't help but developed 2 stars of hatred towards him. Useless. Zhao Xianyuan said. Fellow Taoist, Senior Li Daokong wants to see you. Are you free? Han Ju said. Then invite him in. Zhao Xianyuan. Dao's sovereign couldn't help but laugh. How can he be qualified to enter the chaotic domain? Although he couldn't defeat Li Daokong, he had the right to look down on him in terms of talent. Han Ju smiled secretly. No wonder you were severely injured by Li Daokong. You really know how to talk. You're looking for me for this? Han Ju asked and couldn't help but ponder. These two really couldn't see the strange deity. The strange deity had the potential to be an assassin. If no one could see it, wouldn't it be able to do whatever it wanted? The dark forbidden lord paired with the strange deity was a perfect match, right? The more Han Ju thought about it, the more excited he became. This is the first time your grand disciple, Heavenly Emperor Fong, has held a heavenly peach banquet. Aren't you coming to help? Dao Sovereign asked. Han Ju said, I'm not going. Why? I'll definitely be beaten up if I go. If nothing happened during this heavenly peach banquet, Han Ju would write his name backwards. Dao Sovereign said helplessly, You're definitely at the deity realm now. What are you afraid of? If the 3 of us join forces, who below the Zenith Heaven realm is our match? He wanted to form a team again. Read at Wuxia World. Yu Han Ju couldn't help but think of how Zhou Fan and Mo Fuzhou were so naive a long time ago. If you get beaten up, don't drag me down with you. All these years, have you really been living a carefree life? Han Ju said bluntly. There was no need to show mercy to these 2 brats. If you get beaten up, don't drag me down with you. All these years, have you really been living a carefree life? Han Ju said bluntly. There was no need to show mercy to these 2 brats. This was especially the case for Dao Sovereign. He used to think that he was quite cold, but now, why was he chasing after him like a cowhide? Crazy. Han Ju prepared to leave. Dao Sovereign suddenly asked, If you defeat me, I'll join you. Han Ju glanced at him and said, If you can find me, you win. With that, he left with the strange deity. After returning to reality, Han Ju let the strange deity stay aside, and continued cultivating. Next was to break through to the 6th mystic divine origin realm. After that was the Zenith Heaven realm. 20 years later, Han Ju finally had a chance to break through. He adjusted his emotions and checked his emails to understand the recent commotion. Your good friend Zhou Fan has grasped the true sun flame and has transformed into a heavenly Tao divine spirit. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by demons, X14009. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked by your good friend Di Lantian and was severely injured. Your Tao companion Xian Qingjun obtained a supreme treasure by chance. Her providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was attacked by your good friend Li Daokong and was severely injured. Your good friend Divine General was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and died. Heavenly Tao Divine Spirit? So impressive. As expected of a sage, Han Ju had a feeling that Zhou Fan would become a dark horse in this immeasurable calamity. This was the first time Li Daokong was severely injured. He was even attacked by the Heavenly Emperor and a mysterious mighty figure. The Divine General had actually perished. Han Ju seriously suspected that the mysterious mighty figure, who had severely injured Li Daokong, was the same person who had killed the Divine General. Looking at the email about the Divine General's death, Han Ju sighed. The Divine General was the Heavenly General who had worked the hardest for the Heavenly Court. He was always at the front. Han Ju asked in his heart, Who is the mysterious mighty figure who killed the Divine General and severely injured Li Daokong? 3 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better user experience. Continue. Han Ju felt that this might threaten him. He had to calculate. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. A name appeared in front of him. Below was the introduction of Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. It was the same as what he had seen before. It was indeed this fellow. Han Ju asked, Does Jade Emperor Zhou Yan have any intention of harming the Heavenly Emperor? 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Yes, Han Ju frowned. No. He had to eliminate this fellow. Li Daokong was severely injured. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's next target might be Feng Liang. Furthermore, this fellow wanted to slaughter all living beings and create his own heavenly Tao world. He couldn't let him succeed. He had to break through first. Han Ju immediately started to break through. About 4 years later, he successfully broke through. 6 Mystic Divine Origin. Han Ju's dermic powers transformed, and he reached perfection. As he consolidated his cultivation, he checked his attributes panel. Name: Hanju. Lifespan: 5,932/999 quadrillion 999 trillion 999 billion 999 million 999,999. Race: Primordial Fiend Celestial. Cultivation: 6 Mystic Divine Origin. Technique: Primordial Chaos Reincarnation. Great Tao. Heavenly Cycle Body Tempering. Great Tao. Great Tao of Life and Death. Great Tao of Karma. 999 quadrillion years. Who else can match me? Hanju felt proud. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. Next was to break through to the Zenith Heaven realm. 5 years later, Hanju's cultivation had completely consolidated. He wasn't in a hurry to increase his mystical power. Instead, he visited the Heavenly Emperor in his dreams. After entering the dream, Hanju saw the Heavenly Emperor and discovered that his hair was messy and his dragon robe was tattered, as if he was a prisoner. Hanju asked, "What's wrong with you?" Seeing the dark Forbidden Lord appear, the Heavenly Emperor's eyes lit up. He said, "You guessed that he had the intention to rebel against the Tao Ancestor?" Hanju said, "That's right. Otherwise, why didn't he help you subdue the chaos of the Heavenly Tao?" The Heavenly Emperor sighed. Clearly, the reason why he was in such a sorry state was because of Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. At this moment, a figure appeared beside the Heavenly Emperor. His figure was gray and like Hanju, and his true appearance couldn't be seen. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Hanju instantly guessed the other party's identity and was secretly shocked. How could this fellow enter his dark nightmare? Could it be that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had already controlled the Heavenly Emperor? "Are you the Dark Forbidden Lord?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan asked with a calm tone. Hanju didn't reply. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan ignored the Heavenly Emperor and stared at him. "Join forces with me. In the future, I'll be the Tao Ancestor, and you will be the Heavenly Emperor." Hanju felt that he was too arrogant. Did he really think that the Tao Ancestor was already gone? Somehow, the Tao Ancestor might have developed 2 stars of hatred towards Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Hanju pretended to sneer. "On what basis?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan said, "If you refuse, you will be my enemy. Actually, I also want to fight with someone. No one in this world has the right to resist me." Too arrogant. How could Hanju tolerate him? He asked, "How are you going to deal with the Heavenly Emperor? Do you care about him?" "No, I care about Li Daokong. You injured him. I won't let this go. Li Daokong is not dead, but he will die in my hands sooner or later. As for the Heavenly Emperor, I still have a use for him." The two of them seemed to be old friends as they chatted casually. This content is taken from Light Novel World. The Heavenly Emperor stood at the side and did not say a word. Soon, Hanju and Jade Emperor Zhou Yan fell silent. The two of them stared at each other. Hanju suddenly left the dark nightmare. "Jade Emperor Zhou Yan has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 3 stars. Great." Hanju directly took out the Book of Misfortune. Since the other party had already seen the Dark Forbidden Lord, Hanju didn't wait anymore. He suddenly thought of something and asked cautiously, "Has Jade Emperor Zhou Yan seen through my true identity?" No, this time, his lifespan was not deducted. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief and started cursing Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He would spend 30 billion years playing with this fellow. Hanju was no longer the same as before. Using 30 billion years of his lifespan at once should not be the limit. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan started to decrease. He opened his attributes panel and stared at it carefully. His lifespan had decreased much faster than before, because the strength of his curse had also increased. Facing Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, he had to give it his all. 5 billion years. 10 billion years, 20 billion years, 30 billion years, 40 billion years. Hanju had no choice but to stop. His face was covered in blood, and his soul was dizzy. He couldn't take it anymore. He checked his emails, and did not see any emails about Jade Emperor Zhou Yin being cursed. He was secretly depressed. This fellow was really stubborn. In the dark universe, above the sea of clouds, there was a crooked tree. Under the tree, a person was meditating. It was Jade Emperor Zhou Yin. He slowly opened his eyes and frowned. He muttered, "I underestimated you. No wonder those zenith heavens were forced to death by you." He began to circulate his energy to heal his injuries. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better user experience, facing the terrifying curse of the Dark Forbidden Lord. He almost lost his balance. Fortunately, his mystical powers were impressive, and his dermic powers were boundless. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin became even warier of the Dark Forbidden Lord. Was the curse the Dark Forbidden Lord's full strength? Apart from sages, this was the first time he encountered an existence that he couldn't deduce. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's hatred towards you has increased. Current hatred points, 4 stars. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's hatred towards you has increased. Current hatred points, 4 stars. Seeing this notification, Han Ju's depression vanished. If not for the fact that it affected Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, how could it increase hatred? If 40 billion years of lifespan didn't even ruin the other party's mood, wouldn't that be a huge loss? Han Ju adjusted his state of mind. He was hiding in the Dark Forbidden Zone now. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin shouldn't be able to find him. However, he couldn't expose his identity to prevent Jade Emperor Zhou Yin from using his friends to threaten him. Several days later, Han Ju recovered. He began to improve his mystical power and let his strength reach its current limit. A year later, Han Ju started the simulation trial and fought Li Xianao. Instant kill. He could kill Li Daokong in 10 breaths. He could kill the Heavenly Emperor in an hour. He could kill Shui Mingyi in 5 minutes. Han Ju challenged all the listeners in the Great Ultimate Hall. No one in the deity realm was his match. Some weaker Zenith Heavens were also killed by him. Zenith Heaven Mystical Power, Stellar Primordial Body, 36th Grade Reincarnation World Destruction Black Lotus. This was the reason why Han Ju could cross realms to kill enemies. The difference between the 6 Mystic Divine Origin and the 5 Mystic Divine Origin was extremely great. Not only were there a lot of dermic powers, but it was also the essence of dermic powers. Han Ju had already vaguely come into contact with the Zenith Heaven realm. This realm comprehended the Great Tao. Although the 12 ancestral magi did not have an essence soul, their bodies cultivated a Great Tao origins. They could still reach the Zenith Heaven realm, or even higher. Han Ju prepared to comprehend the Great Tao of life and death, and break through to the Zenith Heaven realm. It was only because Ancestor Shitian had taught him the Great Tao of karma. If Ancestor Shitian developed ill intentions in the future, wouldn't he become his puppet by cultivating this Great Tao? Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Com platform. Wait, why can't I create a brand new Great Tao? Han Ju suddenly had a bold thought. However, he quickly abandoned this thought. He couldn't rely on himself unless he gathered all 9 Great Tao fragments. Currently, he had only accumulated 1. Who knew how long it would take him to accumulate 9 Great Tao fragments? 6,000 years old, and the Zenith Heaven realm should be enough for 1 fragment. Han Ju thought silently. Before that, he still had to rely on the Great Tao of life and death. Just like that, Han Ju began to comprehend the Great Tao of life and death, and rushed to the Zenith Heaven realm. While he was in seclusion, the immortal world was in chaos. The former Heavenly Emperor, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, had appeared. He directly suppressed the Heavenly Court and controlled the 9 heavens. He personally appeared to suppress the various factions. Dragon Court defeated. The True Dragon race was defeated. Darkness Sect defeated. The Qilin race was defeated. The human race's sacred dynasty was defeated. Everyone was in an uproar. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan used his supreme dermic powers to bring despair to all living beings. In the broken Heavenly Emperor Palace, Feng Liang sat on a mat. 2 figures knelt in front of him. They were the Heavenly God General and the Martial God General. Feng Liang stared at them faintly and said, "You still acknowledge me as the Heavenly Emperor?" The martial god general said in a low voice. His Majesty is the Heavenly Emperor. You were personally chosen by the previous Heavenly Emperor. It's truly orthodox. The Heavenly God General added, You're the Heavenly Emperor. Feng Liang looked at them and sighed. His heart sank at the thought of the Divine General. I'm already Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's prisoner. Only you can look at me. Feng Liang smiled bitterly. He had yet to become the Heavenly Emperor when he was suppressed. He was filled with unwillingness. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World. Platform. The martial god general said in a low voice. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan is too much. He's humiliating the heavenly court. The heavenly god general was expressionless and did not reply. Feng Liang took a deep breath and said, I need you to do something. The martial god general asked. What is it? Go to Kunlun and inform the sages of the heavenly court's situation. All right, the martial god general agreed. In a dark cave, Xue Mingyi was nailed to the ground by the 7 white jade swords and could not move. Countless members of the darkness sect gathered in the distance. Duan Hongchen, Xian Qingjun, and Mo Fuzhou were among them. Everyone looked at a figure. That person was surrounded by clouds, and he was sitting on a dragon throne. His posture was arrogant, and his eyes were disdainful. His black robe fluttered slightly. It was Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan frowned. He had deduced for a long time, but still had not deduced the relationship between Xue Mingyi and the Dark Forbidden Lord. Who is the Dark Forbidden Lord? Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's gaze landed on Xue Mingyi. Xue Mingyi gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with fear. Although he worshipped the Dark Forbidden Lord, he was even more afraid of death. He said in a low voice, I really don't know where the Dark Forbidden Lord is. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan said, Do you want to live? Yes. Tell your disciples to curse the humans. What? Xue Mingyi was shocked. The human race was the protagonist of the heavenly Tao. It was fine to curse some people, but cursing the entire human race was courting death. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's eyes turned cold. The temperature in the cave decreased to a freezing point, causing everyone to shiver. Xue Mingyi could only force himself to agree. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan dissipated in the air, leaving behind a light sentence. There are 3,000 great Tao, but only a chance of survival. It depends on whether you can grasp it. The 7 white jade swords on Xue Mingyi's body vanished. He cursed silently. Bastard! If not for the fact that I can't defeat you. He could only pray that the Dark Forbidden Lord would avenge him. 19 years had passed since he began comprehending the great Tao of life and death. Han Ju was still immersed in comprehending the Tao when he was suddenly interrupted by a system notification. Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Platform. Detected that Jade Emperor Zhou Yan wants to forcefully advance the calamity and harm the heavenly Tao's providence. You have the following choices. 1. Immediately ascend and say that you want to compete with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan to bring hope to all living beings. You can obtain a great Tao fragment, a mystical power inheritance, a chance to upgrade the Tao field, a supreme treasure inheritance, a random natural treasure, and a heavenly Tao spirit stone. 2. Continue cultivating and stay away from trouble. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a heavenly Tao spirit stone. Han Ju cursed silently. This option was completely demonic. However, how could he dare to compete with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan? Wasn't that courting death? Han Ju could only choose the second option. It wasn't a loss. It was what he needed anyway. You chose to continue cultivating and obtained a great Tao fragment and a heavenly Tao spirit stone. Han Ju placed the strange deity into the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, then took out the Book of Misfortune and the heavenly Tao spirit stone. As long as he was cursing, he would imprison the strange deity, just in case. Since you're so arrogant, I'll fight you. Han Ju thought to himself that he was going to be the savior again, and no one would know his contributions. It was really lonely. Han Ju began to fuse the 2 treasures. The Book of Misfortune was a deity realm supreme treasure before. After raising it, it could reach the zenith heaven realm no matter what. At that time, the curse power would increase by leaps and bounds. Han Ju was looking forward to it. He checked his emails as he fused. Your grand disciple Feng Liang, was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He was severely injured. Your good friend Shui Mingyi was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He was severely injured. Your good friend Di Lantian was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He was severely injured. Your disciple Long Hao was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He was severely injured. Your good friend Immortal Emperor Samsara was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He was severely injured. Hanju frowned as he read. Updated _ Light Novel World. Was this how this fellow planned to advance the calamity? Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had attacked the leaders of the various factions so fearlessly. It seemed that he had clearly negotiated with the sages. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had attacked the leaders of the various factions so fearlessly. It seemed that he had clearly negotiated with the sages. Hanju was fighting with a sage. It had to be said. How exciting! The Dao field could now block the prying of sages. Why was Hanju afraid? He didn't want to fight Jade Emperor Zhou Yan face to face. However, the most important thing now was to reach the Zenith Heaven realm first. Myriad worlds, all living beings of the heavenly Dao, wait for me to break through. Hanju thought heroically as he continued to comprehend the great Dao of life and death. Outside the immortal world on an island, Li Daokong sat under a tree meditating. He circulated his energy to heal his injuries. Beside him stood two figures. They were Li Xianao and Huang Jihao. Huang Jihao looked at Li Daokong's pale face and was secretly shocked. This was the first time he had seen Li Daokong injured. Previously in his heart, Li Daokong was an invincible existence. Even his master, Li Xianao, was firmly suppressed by the former. Li Xianao asked, "Senior, are you returning to Kunlun?" Li Daokong didn't even look up. "Why?" Li Xianao frowned and said, "The heavenly court is being controlled by Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. There's no need to support it anymore. This is not for the heavenly court, but for the human school." "What do you mean? Do you still want to fight with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan? He's a pseudo-sage. How long have you been in the Zenith Heaven realm?" "Why not? But, if not for him manipulating the heavenly emperor to ambush me, how could I have lost?" Li Daokong opened his eyes. His gaze became unprecedentedly sharp. Li Xianao hesitated. Li Daokong glanced at him and said, "I know what you want to say. I also know that it's the immeasurable calamity now. If I'm not careful, my body and soul will be destroyed. I'll be doomed forever. But I want to fight. Who does Jade Emperor Zhou Yan think he is?" Li Xianao said helplessly, "Senior brother, put away your arrogance. We're really not Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's match." New _ chapters are published on Light Novel World. Calmly Daokong closed his eyes again and said, "Junior, do you know the greatest difference between us?" "What's the difference?" "You do what you know you can do, but I do what I know I cannot do." Li Xianao frowned and said, "Am I not as good as you?" Li Daokong didn't say anything else. Li Xianao glared at Huang Jihao and asked, "Disciple, what do you think?" Huang Jihao secretly complained. Although he admired Li Daokong's heroism, he didn't feel that Li Xianao's path was bad. He had seen people more cautious than Li Xianao. He even felt that Li Xianao was not worthy of Li Daokong's evaluation. Huang Jihao organized his words. Everyone has their own strengths. Li Xianao snorted unhappily. He turned to look at Li Daokong and frowned. A look of worry flashed across his eyes. He knew that he couldn't persuade his senior brother. Ever since he was young, no one had been able to change Li Daokong's will. Not even their master, a sage. At this moment, Li Xianao was a little dazed. He suddenly understood why Li Daokong was the eldest disciple, and why he always walked ahead of him. He couldn't help but be confused. Was he wrong? Another 20 years passed. Hanju stopped comprehending the Tao, and took out the Book of Misfortune to curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He had to curse him every 5 years to prevent him from successfully slaughtering the world. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Your good friend Zhou Fan has fused with the blood of the Golden Crow ancestor, and obtained the Golden Crow Dharma idol. He has obtained the providence of the Golden Crow divine clan. Your grand disciple Fang Liang's soul has transcended into the primordial era. Your good friendly Daokong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Follow new_episodes on the light novel world. Com platform. Your good friend Pan Xian has awakened a mystical power. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong has obtained a supreme treasure. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. X13. Your good friend Li Daokong was severely injured. Fortunately, a sage made a move and his soul escaped. Hanju was secretly shocked. Li Daokong had entered the calamity. He couldn't defeat Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, but still fought so crazily. Of course, there was another possibility. He was being chased by Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Hanju also noticed that Fang Liang's soul had passed through the primordial era again. What did this kid do every time he went back? Hanju didn't think further. He would curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan first. He would directly offer 20 billion years of lifespan. Be polite. Half a month later, Hanju put down the book of misfortune and asked in his heart, I want to know what Fang Liang's soul did in the past. 10 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? 10 billion years? So much. What was this fellow plotting? Hanju was shocked. He had to continue. Continue. Too much karma is involved and cannot be deduced in one attempt. The price of lifespan you paid will be refunded. Can't deduce? Hanju had to change his method. Will Fang Liang's soul transmigrating into the primordial era harm me? 3 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. The source of this _chapter, light novel world. Calm, it won't harm you. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He had to be cautious. Although Fang Liang's favorability towards him had not decreased, after so many years, there was no knowing what others were thinking. He had to be careful. Hanju stopped deducing and focused on breaking through. Relying on the stellar primordial body and the Great Tao cultivation technique, the primordial chaos reincarnation Great Tao, Hanju's comprehension speed was very fast. He estimated that he wasn't far from reaching the Zenith Heaven realm. Without reaching this realm, he would never have the right to compete with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Immortal world human race. In a vast arena, countless human cultivators gathered. Xing Hongxian was among them. She was surrounded by female cultivators with extraordinary auras. All the cultivators looked up at the sky. A huge painting hung upside down above the sea of clouds. The painting depicted a mountain and river. It was vivid, and there were all sorts of immortal birds flying past. It was like a paradise. Children of the human race, the immortal world is facing a calamity and all living beings are in danger. How can we cultivators stay on the ground? We should fight in the sky and save the trapped immortals. An ancient voice sounded, causing the blood of most human cultivators to boil. Xing Hongxian frowned. Something was wrong. Were they courting death again? She had also heard of what had happened to the heavenly court. The primordial heavenly emperor had appeared out of nowhere. Even the immortals had been suppressed. How could the humans resist the powerful primordial heavenly emperor? Previously, they had been enemies with the heavenly court, but now they wanted to save them. Xing Hongxian couldn't understand what the human leaders were thinking. She had to think of a way to avoid this. 20 years later, Hanju succeeded in comprehending the Tao and began to fuse with the great Tao of life and death. He imprinted it in his dermic powers and made his dermic powers transform and his soul sublimate. When everything he had fused with the great Tao, he would condense a Zenith Heaven Tao fruit and become a Zenith Heaven cultivator. According to the notification of the primordial chaos reincarnation Great Tao, the Zenith Heaven realm stood above the laws of the heavens. It pierced through space and time, invincible and indestructible. The tribulation here referred to the heavenly tribulation. If he encountered an even stronger existence, that would be fate. Detected that a mysterious existence is influencing your fate. Do you want to resist? Hanju was stunned. He subconsciously wanted to choose yes. But on second thought he asked, is it good or bad? Uncertain for now. The latest episodes are on the light novel world. Com website. Resist. Hanju immediately made his choice. Beginning to resist the mysterious existence's influence on your fate. Beginning to resist the mysterious existence's influence on your fate. Defended successfully. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief when he saw the 2 lines of words. Although he didn't know if the other party had good intentions or ill intentions, it was better to resist just in case. Hanju was quite satisfied with his current situation and did not want to change it. Who's affecting my fate? Hanju asked in his heart. If it was an enemy, he would be dead. 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. A figure appeared in Hanju's mind. It was Feng Liang. Hanju frowned. He could only see Feng Liang's appearance and didn't know what he had done. The system couldn't detect if Feng Liang had good intentions. Could it be that he was plotting in the primordial era? Hanju remembered that his soul had passed through the primordial era and had yet to return. Very likely. Hanju asked in another way. Is Feng Liang harming me? 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Not for the time being. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. That was good. Then he stopped thinking and continued to comprehend the Tao. More than a year later, 3 lines of words appeared in front of Hanju. Detected that you have reached 6,000 years old, and your life has taken another step forward. You have the following choices. 1. Immediately enter the calamity and fight for providence and fame. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a heavenly Tao spirit stone. 2. Avoid the calamity for the time being and cultivate in a low-profile manner. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a mystical power inheritance. Hanju didn't make a choice immediately this time. Follow current_novel on Light Novel World. He asked silently. I'm not in the calamity yet. You are. But you don't fight for providence and fame. You need to let everyone know your true existence. There was no need to consider. Hanju chose option 2. You chose to temporarily avoid the calamity and obtained a great Tao fragment and a mystical power inheritance. Congratulations on obtaining the great Tao mystical power Grand Unity aspect. Grand Unity aspect. A mystical power formed by the great Tao. It can condense the Dharma idols of the 3,000 chaotic fiend celestials. Great Tao mystical power. Stunned, Hanju hurriedly inherited this mystical power. An unprecedented memory surged into his mind. The Dharma idols of the 3,000 chaotic fiend celestials were not their bodies, but their Tao. The appearance of the Dharma idols could only be known after Hanju successfully cultivated them. Several days later, Hanju finally digested this huge memory. The first chaotic fiend celestial Dharma idol he cultivated was extremely ferocious. He cultivated step by step according to the mystical power inheritance. However, the great Tao mystical power was a great Tao mystical power. Hanju had cultivated for a month, but still hadn't condensed his first chaotic fiend celestial Dharma idol. How long would it take to condense all 3,000 chaotic fiend celestial Dharma idols? Hanju had no choice but to give up and continue cultivating. He had to reach the Zenith Heaven realm first. Cars in the blink of an eye. Another 10 years passed. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Although the Book of Misfortune was already a Zenith Heaven numinous treasure, if he wanted to affect Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, he had to wait for his cultivation level to increase to the Zenith Heaven realm. Hanju cursed as he checked his emails regularly. Your good friend Li Daokong has fused with the mysterious Tao literature. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong has comprehended a heavenly Tao mystical power. He has shocked the world. Visit Light Novel World. For a better reading experience. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by an immortal emperor. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He was severely injured. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. X6. Your good friend Tai Sutian has been enlightened by the heavenly Tao and has stepped into the Emperor realm. Your good friend Han Ming obtained a mysterious mighty figure's inheritance. Li Daokong was so crazy. Hanju could imagine the dangerous scene of Li Daokong fighting with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan just by reading the emails. Looking at the emails, only Li Daokong dared to keep fighting Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. After Di Lantian was killed by Jade Emperor Zhou Yin, there was no more news. As expected of the eldest disciple of the human school, brotherly, don't panic. With my help, you won't be alone. Han Ju thought silently and started to increase the curse power. He noticed that Han Ming had obtained the inheritance of a mysterious mighty figure. He didn't plan to do anything. This kid had already reincarnated. What did it have to do with him? The enemy could forget about using Han Ming to threaten him. 5 days later, Han Ju began to consume his lifespan. 10 billion years, 20 billion years, 30 billion years, 40 billion years. Han Ju stopped cursing as he felt dizzy. He bled from his 7 orifices and was extremely pale. However, his external injuries were superficial, and he could recover quickly. I wonder how that fellow is now. Han Ju secretly looked forward to it. Then, he put away the Book of Misfortune and released the strange deity from the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. The strange deity floated in the air and wandered around, as if expressing its dissatisfaction. After being with Han Ju, its intelligence had been growing although they couldn't communicate yet. Han Ju could already feel its emotions. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World com platform. Go away, don't disturb me. Han Ju waved his hand. After pushing the strange deity away with his dermic powers, he continued to comprehend the great Tao of life and death. The strange deity stared at him and stopped flying. It seemed to be in deep thought. In the dark universe above the sea of clouds under an old tree, Jade Emperor Zhou Yin was circulating his energy when his expression suddenly changed. He clearly did not feel good. Damn it, when will he stop? Jade Emperor Zhou Yin was furious. He had fought Li Daokong not long ago. The Dark Forbidden Lord had suddenly cursed him, almost causing him to lose. On average, every 5 years, the Dark Forbidden Lord would curse him once, and each time, he would become more ferocious. Although Jade Emperor Zhou Yin was not afraid of curses, it was really annoying if this continued. He had thought of contacting the Dark Forbidden Lord, but there was no way. Even the Heavenly Emperor couldn't take the initiative to contact him. At this moment, a figure appeared in front of him. His body shone with divine light. He was burly, but he did not reveal his true appearance. Jade Emperor, you're too impudent. You've already displeased some sages, the divine light figure said bluntly. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin didn't even open his eyes as he said, Great Nine Heavens, are you here to stop me? The divine figure called the Great Nine Heavens snorted. If the sect master supports you, I will naturally support you. However, I hope that you won't cause more trouble for the sect master. Sages are unfathomable, and their emotions are even more so. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin opened his eyes and asked, I want to know, which sage is supporting the human race? Great Nine Heavens shook his head and said, We're not qualified to know. Be careful in the future. Before fighting for providence, don't go against the heavenly Tao's will. With that, Great Nine Heavens vanished. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin frowned and snorted in his heart. When this calamity ends, I will be the heavenly Tao's will. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's hatred towards you increased. Current hatred points. 5 stars. Han Ju, who was cultivating, didn't care when he saw this notification. They were already irreconcilable. It had been 4 years since the last curse. In another year, he could mess with Jade Emperor Zhou Yin again. As Han Ju was thinking, he suddenly felt something on his back. Read at Wuxia World. It was the strange deity. Han Ju was shocked to find that the strange deity was touching his dermic powers. What was he doing? Chapter 406 Zenith Heaven Tao Fruit. Human Race's Human School. Chapter 406 Zenith Heaven Tao Fruit. Human Race's Human School. The strange deity crawled on Han Ju's back, as if it wanted to fuse into his body. At first, Han Ju was very nervous, and thought that this fellow was going to devour him. But he quickly discovered that it was not the case. When the strange deity touched the dermic powers in his body, his dermic powers instantly boiled and began to become stronger. It was as if there was some kind of resonance. Even the great Tao of life and death in Han Ju's body began to resonate, increasing the speed at which he fused with his dermic powers. This is Hanju was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect the strange deity to be so useful. He had always thought that the strange deity was an assassin, but he didn't expect it to be a support. Hanju remained cautious and continued to observe. The strange deity was indeed helping him increase his dermic powers, and even fuse with the great Tao of life and death. This was helping him reach the zenith heaven realm? Can strange deity be so useful? Hanju asked in his heart. Will it harm me by doing this? 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No, Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. It didn't even say for the time being. Even so, Hanju still maintained his rationality and stared at it seriously. Time passed. Half a year later, the strange deity had completely fused into Hanju's body and become one with him. Although they were fused together, Hanju could feel the strange deity's existence and could expel it out of his body at any time. It formed a strange bridge in Hanju's body. With its help, his dermic powers and the great Tao of life and death were rapidly fusing. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. At this rate, he would reach the zenith heaven realm quickly. Hanju was very excited after thinking about it. He had a 5-star favorability towards the strange deity. It seemed that his decision to subdue it was correct. Just like that, Hanju focused on becoming a zenith heaven cultivator and ignored what was happening outside. In an ancient stone hall in the immortal world, Li Daokong, Li Xianao, and Huang Jihao slowly walked forward. Stone statues were standing on both sides. They were the past human emperors, and all of them had extraordinary divine might. Huang Jihao walked at the back and curiously sized up his surroundings. Li Xianao asked in a low voice, "They don't seem to respect us." Li Daokong's expression did not change as he said, "It's fine. Let them see. We can test our strength." The three of them advanced and arrived in front of a huge stone tablet. This stone tablet was 10,000 feet tall. There were all sorts of red patterns engraved on it, as if it recorded the history of the development of the human race. With just a glance, one could feel that it was magnificent like an epic. Li Daokong stopped. Li Xianao and Huang Jihao also stopped. The stone tablet shone and figures walked out. The leader was a white-haired old man with long eyebrows that covered his eyes. He chuckled and said, "Greetings, two immortal masters of the human school." Li Xianao snorted. "Instead of welcoming us personally, you're still spying on us. Do you think we can't sense it? Or are you afraid of us?" "Of course I'm afraid. The two of you shocked the myriad worlds. How can we mortals not be afraid?" Li Xianao's expression softened. Li Daokong said, "Against Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, the humans can join forces with the human school." The white-haired elder asked, "What about the Chan and Jie schools?" Clearly, he did not believe in their strength. That was Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, a mighty figure who had recently suppressed the immortal world. Li Daokong stomped his right foot, and a sword appeared behind him. It emitted a dazzling purple light, and a terrifying sword aura spread out. The stone statues of all the emperors in the hall began to shake violently, including the 10,000-foot stone tablet in front. All the mighty figures were moved. What a terrifying sword chi! No wonder he could become the eldest disciple of the human school. It seems that the rumors are true. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan can't do anything to him. Where did that sword come from? My dermic powers can't help but be attracted by it. This aura. Has he really just stepped into the zenith heaven realm? The human mighty figures communicated with their divine sense. Most of them were afraid. The white-haired elder smiled. The humans are willing to join forces with the human school. Li Xianao snorted disdainfully. They changed their tone so quickly. Huang Jihao looked at Li Daokong in admiration. Uncle Master was much more capable than his master. The longer he spent with Li Daokong, the more he admired him. In his opinion, Li Daokong was definitely the person he wanted to become. His master Li Xianao was not good. He bullied the weak and spoke too much. If not for Li Daokong, Li Xianao would have died thousands of times. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan wants to slaughter all living beings. The humans can spread the news, Li Daokong continued. The white-haired elder asked in surprise, "Is this true?" Li Daokong said calmly, So what if it's true? The white-haired elder was silent. 10 years later, Hanju's dermic powers and the great Tao of life and death had completely fused. In his body, brand new dermic powers began to condense into a zenith heaven Tao fruit. As long as he succeeded, he would step into the zenith heaven realm. However, condensing the zenith heaven Tao fruit required time. The dermic powers of a zenith heaven were extremely vast, so it was naturally not possible to succeed in a short period of time. Fortunately, Hanju did not need to control it personally. The zenith heaven Tao fruit would automatically condense. Hanju got up and walked out of the cave abode. Prepare for the Tao preaching. Hanju's voice resounded throughout the island, causing everyone to be excited, including the 10,000 nether race beings. The nether race couldn't reproduce. Their population had never changed. Their potential was not bad. The weakest had already reached the grand unity heaven immortal realm. Hanju sat down under the Fusang tree. Tao Comprehension Sword came to his side and asked curiously, "Master, your eyes." The others also looked at Hanju in surprise. When he heard that, he couldn't help but carefully check. He discovered that his pupils had turned purple. It was not temporary, but permanent, making him look even more mysterious. Not only his pupils, but thin black patterns also appeared between his eyebrows. They fluttered like tentacles. Hanju said, "It's only a realm. You don't understand." Tao Comprehension Sword did not say much. Hanju noticed that Li Yao and Tu Linger looked at him strangely, as if they wanted to eat him. Fairy Shixian and Chang Yuer also walked out of their cave abode. When they saw Hanju, they couldn't help but be stunned. Hanju began to preach the Tao. The moment his voice sounded, everyone's souls shook, and they entered Tao Comprehension state one after another. Zenith Heaven's voice. Although Hanju had yet to completely enter the Zenith Heaven realm, his voice already had the Tao insight of the Zenith Heaven realm. Even the Nether race members were entranced. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 8 years passed. Hanju had yet to condense his Zenith Heaven Tao fruit, so he planned to continue preaching and sort out his Tao during the process. At this moment, 3 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected that a sage has entered the world. You have the following choices. 1. Immediately enter the calamity and challenge the sage. You will win great providence and obtain a great Tao fragment and a mystical power inheritance. 2. Avoid the calamity for the time being and cultivate in peace. You can obtain a great Tao fragment. A sage had entered the world? Hanju immediately chose the second option and obtained a great Tao fragment. He thought, I want to know which sage has entered the world. 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Chapter 407 Fuxition, Transcending the Heavens. Chapter 407 Fuxition, Transcending the Heavens. After Hanju chose to continue, lines of words quickly appeared in front of him. Fuxition, cultivation unknown. Heavenly Tao Sage. Ancestor of the human race. Immeasurable Emperor. Ancestor of the 8 trigrams. Because he was summoned by the human race, he used his Dharma idol to enter the world and avoid the heavenly secrets. He wants to help the human race obtain great providence. Fuxition. The legendary Emperor Fuxi in the mythology? Since he was helping the human race, Hanju was relieved. At least Xing Hongxian would be fine. Perhaps Fuxition would even deal with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Hanju was looking forward to it. After understanding it, he continued to preach. Time flew. Another 10 years passed. After Hanju finished his lecture, he didn't leave immediately. Instead, he stayed under the Fusang tree and faced the east. The other disciples were still in a state of Tao comprehension and could not extricate themselves for the time being. Most of the Zenith Heaven Tao fruit in Hanju's body had already condensed. The strange deity flew out from his body and looked at the Fusang tree. It flew around the tree trunk quite cheerfully. No one could sense the strange deity's existence, including the Fusang tree. After the strange deity left his body, the black pattern between Hanju's eyebrows disappeared, but his pupils were still purple. Hanju didn't stop the strange deity. After this fusion, the strange deity already had his dermic powers. They could use the dermic powers together. Hanju used his dermic powers to isolate it from the strange power and prevent the Fusang tree from being destroyed. Hanju's gaze landed on the strange deity. He could feel that he had already completely gained control of the strange deity. From now on, he could erase its intelligence at any time and absorb it, turning it into his own power. However, the strange deity had helped him greatly. He naturally wouldn't be so heartless. I wonder how strong this kid will be in the future. Hanju thought expectantly. The strange deity's current strength was difficult to figure out. If he said that it was strong, it was actually just so. If he said that it was not strong, then it was not strong. Other than the primordial physique, no one could spy on it. No matter what, the strange deity's potential was definitely terrifying. After all, it had inherited the chaotic fiend Celestial's providence. Since he had nothing to do, Hanju checked the emails. Recently, he had been condensing the Zenith Heaven Dao fruit. Hanju didn't dare to use his dermic powers to curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He didn't know how the situation in the immortal world was. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your good friend Ji Xianshan was attacked by demons, X189900. Your disciple Su Qi has absorbed the dark power, and his cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Di Lantian was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. He sacrificed his soul to sound the Emperor Ancestral Bell. Your good friend Dao Ancestor's providence has decreased. Your good friend Tai Sutian has received guidance from a sage. Her cultivation has increased greatly. In short, the immortal world was relatively calm, and the battles were not intense. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan seemed to have stopped recently. Hanju checked his interpersonal relationships. The friends he cared about were still there. When I reach the Zenith Heaven realm, I'll offer Jade Emperor Zhou Yan 100 billion years of my lifespan. Let's see if you can withstand it. Hanju thought silently. He suddenly thought of the Heavenly Emperor. He could visit him in his dreams and ask about his situation. Using the Dark Nightmare did not consume dermic powers. He only needed to use his divine sense. Soon Hanju created a dream. When he saw the Heavenly Emperor again, he looked much thinner, and his eyes were dark. The Heavenly Emperor was not moved when he saw Hanju, who had transformed into the Dark Forbidden Lord. He slowly sat down and asked, "What's the matter?" He began to adjust his dragon robe, and the Heavenly Emperor's temperament quickly recovered. Hanju asked, "Other than Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, do you have no other backing?" He remembered that the Heavenly Emperor had been to Kunlun. Previously, in front of the Great Ultimate Hall, the Heavenly Emperor had also been chatting and laughing with many mighty figures. The Heavenly Emperor smiled. "You want me to deal with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan?" Hanju didn't answer but asked with a smile, "Jade Emperor, aren't you going to show yourself?" With that said, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan appeared. Hanju cursed silently. "Bastard." He was indeed here. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan asked, "Have you thought it through?" In the past few decades, the Dark Forbidden Lord had not cursed him. He had thought that he had chickened out. Hanju asked, "Do you know that a sage has descended into the mortal world?" Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was silent. The Heavenly Emperor was moved. The reason why Hanju said this was to intimidate Jade Emperor Zhou Yan and prevent him from slaughtering all living beings in advance. Although Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had the intention to slaughter the world, all the races in the immortal world had powerful backgrounds. He didn't dare to act rashly. He was still weak in front of a sage. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan asked, "Which faction?" Hanju teased, "You have to identify them yourself. You still don't have enough pawns, I see." Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's hatred towards you has increased. Current hatred points, 6 stars. Great. This was irresolvable except for death. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan hated the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju had given him a hint, because they had seen each other in the dream. As long as Jade Emperor Zhou Yan did not know that the Dark Forbidden Lord was him, he would be fearless. This was a little. Hanju inexplicably thought of his high spirits when he surfed the internet in his previous life. Jade Emperor Zhouyin asked. Can we really only be enemies? Hanju said. If you don't threaten me, I won't threaten you either. Jade Emperor Zhouyin smiled. Hanju also smiled and didn't say anything. The atmosphere fell silent again. After a long while, Jade Emperor Zhouyin said, The power of your curse is too weak. Could it be that you're not even a Zenith Heaven cultivator, and only rely on the supreme treasure to curse your enemy? Hanju said, I'm waiting for an opportunity. Jade Emperor Zhouyin fell silent again. What opportunity? This fellow was definitely waiting for him to enter an intense fight. Hanju suddenly ended the dream, and his consciousness returned to reality. After confirming that the Heavenly Emperor was fine, he also messed with Jade Emperor Zhouyin. It was about time. Next, Jade Emperor Zhouyin shouldn't dare to cause trouble anymore. Hanju could reach the Zenith Heaven realm in peace. Sometime later, the disciples of the hidden sect woke up one after another. Hanju returned to his cave abode. Year after year passed. 20 years later, Hanju's Zenith Heaven Dao fruit completely condensed. All his dermic powers were sucked into it. Boom! The entire Cultivate diligently become immortal mountain began to shake violently. A vast pressure swept through the Dao field, shocking everyone on the island. Chu Shuren widened his eyes and muttered, Zenith Heaven! Too fast. How long had it been? Hanju had been hiding on the island and could still break through at lightning speed. Although his voice was soft, everyone heard him clearly. Sun Chang'an, the Black Hell Chicken, and the others who were with Hanju the earliest couldn't help but show admiration and yearning. How old was Hanju? What? He's already at the Zenith Heaven realm? Jiangyi exclaimed in disbelief. The first time they met, Hanju wasn't even at the Immortal Emperor realm. Now he was still in the Emperor realm, but Hanju had already surpassed the deity realm and reached the Zenith Heaven realm? What a joke! Could this fellow really be the Dao ancestor? That stinky chicken wasn't joking? At the same time, in the cave abode, Hanju was drowned by a purple pillar of light. His soul began to transform. Zenith Heaven realm. He transcended the heavens. Hanju was extremely happy as he felt the strange changes in his body and soul. The Zenith Heaven realm was finally reached. Chapter 408 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, Jade Emperor's Mental Demon. Chapter 408 Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, Jade Emperor's Mental Demon. After Hanju condensed the Zenith Heaven Dao fruit, he understood a lot. At the Zenith Heaven realm, with one thought, he could manipulate the heavens, space and time, and even fate. After reaching this realm, one could exist forever below the heavenly Dao. Of course, if they were attacked by a stronger force, Zenith Heaven experts would still die. Only Zenith Heaven or existences that surpassed Zenith Heaven could defeat Zenith Heaven. The rules of the heavenly Dao could not directly kill Zenith Heaven. This was the Zenith Heaven realm. Several days later, Hanju's full dermic powers fused into the Zenith Heaven Dao fruit. A strange power of the great Dao enveloped his body. He succeeded. Zenith Heaven realm. Feeling his body transform, Hanju almost wanted to roar. How satisfying. The last time it felt so good was when he was at the mortal transcendence realm. The transformation from a sixth mystic divine origin to the Zenith Heaven realm was unimaginable. In terms of power alone, Hanju felt 1,000 times stronger than before. His divine sense was the same, but he still couldn't spy on the dark forbidden zone. Hanju checked his attributes panel as he consolidated his cultivation. Name: Hanju. Lifespan: 6062, 10 quintillion 999 quadrillion 999 trillion 999 billion 999 million 999,999. Race: Primordial Fiend Celestial. Cultivation: Early Stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. Technique: Primordial Chaos Reincarnation Great Dao. Heavenly Cycle Body Tempering. Great Dao. Great Dao of Life and Death. Great Dao of Karma. The Zenith Heaven realm was also called the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. There was only one major realm, and it was divided into the early, middle, late, and perfect stages. Hanju felt extremely comfortable when he saw the words Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. His lifespan increased by 2 digits. 10 quintillions. Almost eternal. Hanju wondered if the heavenly Tao could exist for so many years. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. Detected that you have reached the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal Realm. The system has begun to upgrade. Hanju was pleasantly surprised when he saw this line of words. Although he hadn't obtained the Great Tao Fragment and the Heavenly Tao Spirit Stone, the system's upgrade meant that the Tao field had been upgraded. It would make him safer. After becoming a Zenith Heaven cultivator, Hanju could also protect himself. He was no longer a weakling who could be controlled by anyone. Hanju consolidated his cultivation after spending 7 years. He imprisoned the strange deity in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. The first thing he did was curse Jade Emperor Zhou Yan with the Book of Misfortune. Didn't you mock me that my curse was not strong enough? You even said that I didn't reach the Zenith Heaven realm. Now that I've reached the Zenith Heaven realm, are you prepared to withstand the anger of 100 billion years? Hanju smiled frivolously. He had the right to be proud as a 6,000-year-old Zenith Heaven cultivator. Zenith Heaven dermic powers poured into the Book of Misfortune. It emitted a black light that shone on Hanju's face. The black light flickered in the Khanate cave abode, looking ghastly and terrifying. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan started to reduce. He opened his attributes panel and stared at his lifespan carefully. It was descending so quickly. In less than 5 minutes, he had lost 10 billion years of his lifespan. However, having reached the Zenith Heaven realm, he did not feel any discomfort. He continued cursing. In a palace, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan sat at the head of the table. All the forces were gathered here. Feng Liang, Long Hao Shui Mingyi, Di Lantian, King of Hell, Divine Might Buddha, and so on were the leaders of the various forces. They were discussing the region of the immortal world, but the humans did not come. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan did not interrupt. His expression was rather ugly. Shui Mingyi noticed the change in his expression and couldn't help but ask, "Your Majesty, what's wrong?" Everyone looked at Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. This was the first time they had seen him reveal such an expression. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan replied, "I'm fine. Continue." He was circulating his energy to resist the strange curse. He knew that the Dark Forbidden Lord was beginning to make a move. This curse was far stronger than before. However, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan did not dare to disband the meeting immediately. Otherwise he would expose a flaw. "Are you being cursed by the Dark Forbidden Lord?" Shui Mingyi asked, pretending to be terrified. He was extremely excited. The Dark Forbidden Lord finally attacked. The others revealed strange expressions. If this was true, it would be a good thing for them. However, they did not dare to show it. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan snorted coldly. "The Dark Forbidden Lord is only a worm hiding in the dark. His curse can't hurt me at all." These words were equivalent to a disguised admission. Shui Mingyi almost cheered, but he restrained himself. He wasn't the only one. Jing Tiangong, who represented the Jie school, was also excited. In the current immortal world, who could resist Jade Emperor Zhou Yan below the sages? Other than the Dark Forbidden Lord, who else was there? Boom! A terrifying pressure attacked from outside the hall. The door turned to dust, and a figure stepped over with a sword. Sword shadows appeared under his feet, and his white robe fluttered. He was handsome. Who else could it be but Li Daokong? "Jade Emperor Zhou Yan, our battle is not over." Li Daokong's eyes were cold, and his tone was filled with killing intent. The masters of the various factions in the hall were moved. What a powerful aura. They had heard that Li Daokong was fighting with Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. They didn't expect to see him today. Amitba. The human school has really taken in a good disciple with unparalleled talent. Divine Might Buddha sighed. Everyone was stunned by Li Daokong's aura. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan sneered. "Li Daokong, you're not my match at all. If not for the sage protecting you, you would have died long ago." Li Daokong continued forward as he stared at him. A huge battle was about to break out. Inside the Khanate cave abode, Hanju cursed as he stared at the attributes panel. He had already lost 50 billion years of his lifespan. He still did not feel any discomfort, so he continued cursing. 60 billion years, 70 billion years, 80 billion years. Hanju's breathing quickened. It wasn't the backlash of the curse, but his heart ached. This was the first time he had consumed so much lifespan. Most importantly, Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had yet to be cursed. Continue. I don't believe it. Hanju gritted his teeth and persisted. 90 billion years. 100 billion years. Boom! The Book of Misfortune rumbled like an ancient ferocious beast was roaring. Wisps of black aura visible to the naked eye overflowed and wrapped around him. Hanju was surprised. What was this? This black aura was somewhat familiar. Wait, isn't this strange deity's black aura? Could it be that the strange deity was related to the curse? His lifespan decreased rapidly. 110 billion years. Because of your curse, your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan lost control of his dermic powers. Misfortune surrounded him, and he developed mental demons. He was finally cursed successfully. Hanju hurriedly stopped. The black aura around him was absorbed by the Book of Misfortune, and the black light vanished. Hanju hurriedly checked his state to see if the black aura had any effect on him. Fortunately, it did not affect him at all. Perhaps it was because he had stopped in time. Or perhaps it was related to the fusion of the strange deity. If Jade Emperor Zhou Yan has developed a mental demon, he isn't far from death. It's time for the outcome of the calamity to change, right? Hanju hesitated. Should he calculate the outcome of the calamity? Don't be a bad outcome again. Apart from him being able to change the calamity, sages could also do the same. Forget it. I should at least avoid some kind of risk. I want to know who is the greatest winner of this calamity. Hanju thought silently. 3 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Chapter 409 Heavenly Constellation Fiend Celestial, Rise of the Human Race. Chapter 409 Heavenly Constellation Fiend Celestial, Rise of the Human Race Continue. Hanju wanted to see what changes would happen in the future. After Jade Emperor Zhou Yan collapsed, would a new overlord appear? Hanju entered the illusion. He came to a forest with pleasant scenery. Peach trees were everywhere, and the fragrance of peach blossoms filled the air. Following the path in the forest, he saw a Taoist temple halfway up the mountain. For some reason, Hanju felt that this forest looked familiar. Could it be the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal mountain? Wait, the final winner was him? Hanju was about to walk forward when he saw two people walking out of the Taoist temple. One of them was Hanju, and the other was Li Daokong. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. It was really him. That's good. The future Hanju stopped and said, I'll send you here. Li Daokong turned around and smiled. Your master is leaving. Aren't you going to send me off? You're the next eldest disciple of the human school. You have to be polite. Hanju showed a frown. What the heck? Would he become the eldest disciple of the human school in the future? The future Hanju said helplessly, Yes, master. The greatest winner was not Hanju, but Li Daokong? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Hanju was dumbfounded. Something was wrong with this script. Li Daokong raised his eyebrows and said, What? Are you unwilling? I didn't force you to join the human school. Who asked you to offend a sage? The future Hanju asked. Has that sage really stopped? As long as the sage of the human school is still around, he won't dare to act recklessly. Fine. The scene shattered. Hanju returned to reality and frowned. After the calamity ended, he had no choice but to seek refuge with the human school, because he had offended a sage? This was not good. Hanju didn't want to join any sage sect. That would result in great karma, and he would lose his freedom. Most importantly, a sage secretly was watching him. How could he be at ease? No, he had to be more cautious. Could it be because he had obtained the Zenith Heaven Dao fruit, that he had become arrogant and offended a sage? Hanju wanted to prevent this from happening. I want to know who the sage I offended is. Hanju asked in his heart, unable to derive the sage's future karma of a situation that has yet to happen. This will alarm the sage. Hanju frowned again. Were sages so impressive? Forget it. Hanju stopped thinking. He would wait for the system to upgrade first. He put away the Book of Misfortune and released the strange deity. Next, he began to improve his various mystical powers. All of them reached their limits after a year. Hanju didn't enter the simulation trial directly. Instead, he cultivated the grand unity aspect. After reaching the Zenith Heaven realm, he should be able to cultivate a new Dharma idol. Even if it was only one, it could increase his combat strength greatly. The grand unity aspect was extremely profound. Fortunately, Hanju could already completely understand the cultivation method of the first Dharma idol. A full 10 years passed. Hanju finally mastered the first chaotic fiend celestial Dharma idol. The heavenly constellation fiend celestial dharmic powers had immense strength. His fists could break through the great Tao. Of course, this was his limit. Hanju was only at the Zenith Heaven realm, so his heavenly constellation fiend celestial Dharma idol was naturally not that terrifying. After succeeding, Hanju immediately entered the simulation trial and challenged Li Daokong. After entering the battle, Hanju directly used the heavenly constellation fiend celestial Dharma idol. A dark and mighty figure condensed above his head and punched out. Li Daokong was obliterated. Instant kill. Awesome. Hanju felt the domineering pleasure of destroying all techniques with one move. He began the simulation trial. No deity realm existence could withstand the heavenly constellation fiend celestial's punch. Unless he had the protection of a supreme treasure, it was similarly difficult for anyone below the late-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm to withstand his punch. The Heavenly Emperor was at the mid-stage Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal realm. He had a Dharma treasure, but he was still killed after 10 punches. At the early-stage Golden Immortal realm, Xue Mingyi had been insta-killed. After fighting for a few days, Hanju had been familiarizing himself with the heavenly constellation fiend celestial's fighting style. In short, he was very surprised. The grand unity aspect was too powerful. Just the first one was already so domineering. If 3,000 appeared at once, how terrifying would that be? Could he destroy the entire Great Tao alone? Hanju felt very excited just thinking about it. Next, he began to comprehend the Zenith Heaven realm. After reaching this realm, Hanju could clearly sense various invisible rules, such as space and time. Now he could easily enter space-time and travel through the past and future. However, his intuition told him that doing so would result in great karma. Thus, he couldn't rashly proceed. Not only could he transmigrate through time, but Hanju could also see the river of destiny, hanging high above all living beings. It didn't exist in the myriad worlds, but on another level. The eye of Zenith Heaven could see it at a glance. This space was extremely mysterious, and could not be deduced with common sense. Those below the Zenith Heaven realm could not directly spy on it. Hanju was very curious about how those non-Zenith heavens entered the river of destiny. The river of destiny did not look that weak. When Hanju was still comprehending the Zenith Heaven realm, the immortal world stirred again. The human race had risen. Unknowingly, the geniuses of the human race had broken through one after another. Their auras were like a rainbow, causing the overall providence of the human race to constantly increase, until it shocked the myriad worlds. Heavenly Court, Numinous Palace. Feng Liang sat on the emperor's throne. There were fewer immortals in the hall than in the past. He looked rather carefree. At the front were the Heavenly God General, the Martial God General, Ji Xianxian, Li Daokong, and the others. A white-haired old immortal bowed and said, "Your Majesty, the human race has risen. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan is in seclusion. This will be a good opportunity for the Heavenly Court to rest. Don't enter the calamity again." The other immortals nodded. After experiencing the Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's calamity, the Heavenly Court had suffered heavy losses. They were all afraid. Feng Liang said calmly, "I know what to do, but I can't rest completely. Opportunities are always fleeting in the immeasurable calamity. I've decided to recruit immortal gods from overseas. What do you think, my dear subjects?" Overseas? The immortals were in an uproar. The Heavenly God General praised. Previously, the outer seas were dominated by the Jie school and the true dragon race. Now the Jie school is hiding in the 9 nether purgatory. After the true dragon race joined the dragon court, they raised their race and fought. There are indeed no forces overseas who can make decisions. Since ancient times, there have been many hidden cultivators overseas. The moment he spoke, the heavenly generals expressed their support. The literature immortals looked at each other, but no one jumped out to refute. In the calamity, the heavenly generals had greater authority. Feng Liang looked at Li Daokong and asked, "What do you think, fellow Taoist Li?" Li Daokong smiled and said, "The human school supports the heavenly court. If your majesty feels that it's not convenient, I can personally go overseas and use my sword to recruit immortals." He spoke very casually, but the group of gods could sense his dominance. No one doubted it, because Li Daokong was a powerful existence who had defeated Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. That's right. The reason why Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was in seclusion was that he had been repelled by Li Daokong, although Shui Mingyi said that it was due to the Dark Forbidden Lord. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan was indeed defeated by Li Daokong. After this battle, Li Daokong's name shook the immortal world, and he became the #1 sword immortal in the immortal world. He was in the limelight. Feng Liang ordered, "Then, I won't trouble fellow Taoist Li. Martial God General Ji Xianxian, the two of you will bring 5,000 heavenly soldiers. You can choose a literature immortal to help." Chapter 410 Upgrade of the Dao Field Ma Chao. Chapter 410 Upgrade of the Dao Field. Ma Chao Hanju didn't know the situation in the immortal world. He was focused on comprehending the Dao of the zenith heaven. In the blink of an eye, 30 years passed. The system finally succeeded in upgrading and interrupted Hanju's attention. System upgrade successful. The Dao field has been upgraded. The array formation has been upgraded to the pseudo-sage realm. The Dao field's internal space has been expanded. Dao field immortal qi has increased by 10 times. Khanate qi has increased by 5 times. The Dao field can block the prying of heavenly Dao level divine sense. The system has added a new guard. You can completely duplicate a zenith heaven expert in the simulation trial as a guard. He will listen to you. The guard cannot leave the Dao field for more than an hour. Otherwise he will directly melt. It took decades to successfully upgrade. Hanju took a look and was pleasantly surprised. The safety of the Dao field had increased greatly with the pseudo-sage formation. Not only that, but it could also block the divine sense of a heavenly Dao existence. Hanju felt a strong sense of security. In that case, as long as he did not go out, he couldn't die in the calamity. Hanju began to choose the second guard's template. At the same time, the spirit qi and khanate qi in the Dao field began to increase. The disciples thought that Hanju was using a mystical power, so they were not shocked. After all, this was not the first time. After hesitating for a long time, Hanju still decided to choose Zhu Tu as the template. After all, he was once the #1 in the immeasurable calamity. He was equivalent to the strongest person in the zenith heaven. At this rate, will I create an army of Zhu Tus? Hanju thought sinisterly. Although Zhu Tu was dead, he was still alive. It also took time to duplicate the guard. Hanju continued to comprehend the zenith heaven Dao. Ever since he broke through, he had never started cultivating. He had always been sensing the zenith heaven Dao fruit. The zenith heaven Dao fruit was all-encompassing. It contained countless truths of the world and the rules of the heavenly Dao, causing one to sink into it. The zenith heaven golden immortal was not only powerful in terms of dermic powers, but he also had other mysterious advantages. If he completely understood them, he would be omnipotent to a certain extent. 5 years later. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. The second guard was successfully generated. Hanju named it Ma Chao. First there was Lu Bu of the Three Kingdoms, then there was Ma Chao. He had assembled a set. When Ma Chao walked out of the Khanate cave abode, everyone was stunned. They finally realized that Lu Bu was really not Zhu Tuesday. He had really died. It was just that Hanju used some powerful mystical power to create a new Zhu Tuesday. Not only did Ma Chao look identical to Zhu Tu, but his aura was also extremely terrifying. Chu Shuren, Morong Qi, Li Yao, Tu Linger, and the other talented disciples were all stunned. They felt that they might not be important to Hanju. He could already create powerful subordinates that far exceeded them. Why nurture them? In other words, Hanju treated them with sincerity. Thinking of this, They were even more grateful to him. After Ma Chao went out, Hanju received several notifications that his favorability had increased. He couldn't help but be baffled. Not minding it, he continued to comprehend the Zenith Heaven Dao fruit. Hanju opened his eyes again, as Xing Hongxian used the invocation technique to summon him. He checked his attributes panel and discovered that another 43 years had passed. He couldn't help but sigh. To the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals, each of their naps could last as long as several dynasties. Hanju stepped into the black vortex and arrived at Xing Hongshuan's chamber. He discovered that Khanate Qi had appeared in her chamber, and it was very dense. Seeing Hanju appear, Xing Hongxian immediately came up and smiled. "Husband, you're finally here." She pulled him to the table and sat down. Noticing his purple pupils, she was secretly shocked. Husband had broken through again. She didn't ask about this. Instead, she began to talk about her experiences during this period of time. 100 years ago, the human race welcomed a sacred ancestor. Under the sacred ancestor's mystical power, the providence of the human race increased greatly. The immortal qi in the area continued to increase, causing the cultivation of the human cultivators to usher in an explosive period. Now the humans had greater ambitions. The human race wanted to eradicate all the races and sects with providence. They would control the heavenly Tao alone. Hanju was speechless. The humans had also become arrogant. Hanju thought of the previous demon court, heavenly court, divine palace and dragon court. At this rate, wouldn't the calamity be endless? Xing Hongxian asked. Husband, do you think I should take over the authority? Hanju asked, what authority? Xing Hongxian took a deep breath and said, the authority of the human emperor. She looked at Hanju nervously. She knew that this thought of hers was very daring. No one would believe it, especially Hanju. He was so afraid of trouble. Would he cut ties with her because of this? However, Hanju was not surprised or even indifferent. Up to you. Husband isn't worried about me? What's there to worry about? Even if you die outside, I won't be sad. TCH, you're stubborn. I told you to come back long ago. If you don't, I can respect your will. But you can forget about dragging me to death with you. Although Hanju said it heartlessly, Xing Hongxian was not sad. She wasn't stupid. If Hanju was really heartless, she would have already reincarnated more than 10 times. Xing Hongxian smiled and said, don't worry, husband. If I die, I won't implicate you. If I succeed, whatever you want in the future, as long as I can do it, I will definitely satisfy you. I can even drive the entire human race to do things for you. Hanju snorted. Be careful. The battle for the human emperor isn't that easy. Hee, I know. Seeing her smile so confidently, Hanju couldn't help but guess. Did Nuwa say something to her? It was very likely. Although Xing Hongxian was bold, she never did anything she was not confident of. After Hanju thought it through, he didn't stop her. As long as Nuwa had no ill intentions towards him and her. So what if he accepted this favor? Sages also needed good karma. Hanju began to guide Xing Hongxian in her cultivation and impart his personal experience. A year later, Hanju returned to the Khanate cave abode. He walked out and prepared to preach the Tao for the hidden sect. The strange deity followed behind him like a shadow. Hearing that he was going to preach the Tao, all the disciples gathered and waited expectantly. Hanju began to preach the Tao and led everyone into a state of Tao comprehension. 9 years passed in a flash. Hanju didn't answer the disciples' questions anymore. Instead, he turned around and returned to the Khanate cave abode. He placed the strange deity into the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and took out the Book of Misfortune. I haven't cared about you for a long time. This time I'll care twice as much. Hanju thought silently. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's hatred for him had already reached 6 stars. He had to kill this fellow. Otherwise, there would be no end to trouble. He had also been paying attention to emails. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had been quiet for decades. In the past few years, he had begun to become active again. He had just attacked Li Daokong not long ago. Hanju had said before as the Dark Forbidden Lord that he cared about Li Daokong. He had to put on a show and use this excuse to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. 5 days later, Hanju began to consume his lifespan. 10 billion years, 20 billion years, 50 billion years, 80 billion years, 100 billion years. This old fellow was still fine. He continued cursing. Chapter 411 Dao Heart Cracked, Sage Jinan. Chapter 411 Dao Heart Cracked, Sage Jinan 110 billion years, 120 billion years. Hanju's Dao heart began to waver. His lifespan consumption broke the record again. Was there really a need? Yes. He had to kill Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. This was the only thing. He wouldn't do this again. Hanju gritted his teeth and persisted. After consuming nearly 150 billion years of his lifespan, he finally saw an email. Because of your curse, your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan had his Dao heart cracked. His dermic powers went into chaos and misfortune attacked him with endless negative karma. Hanju immediately stopped. After cursing for so long, Hanju didn't feel any discomfort, but his breathing was a little chaotic. As expected of the Zenith Heaven realm, he was firm like a tree. Hanju looked forward to how many years of his lifespan he could spend at most, but he didn't dare to think too much. He was afraid that he would become addicted. No matter how long his lifespan was, he couldn't withstand the consumption of hundreds of billions of years. Hanju was vigilant against himself. He couldn't become addicted. Even as a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, he could not rashly provoke a powerful enemy. Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune and released the strange deity. He started cultivating after so many years. He finally began to cultivate. He actually felt that it had been a long time. He checked his emails as he cultivated. Your disciple Long Hao and the Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal have begun to fuse. Your disciple Su Qi accidentally entered the Fian Celestial's vortex. Your good friend Huang Jihao was attacked by human cultivators X1092. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by your enemy Jade Emperor Zhou Yan. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure and was severely injured. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Your grand disciple Fang Liang dreamed of the Dao ancestor when he was cultivating. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Zhou Fan has devoured the true sun flame and obtained the Emperor Ancestral Bell's recognition. Your good friend Huang Zuantian listened to the sage preach, and his cultivation increased greatly. Long Hao and Hao Tian had fused. He wondered what kind of trouble these two would cause. Ever since Long Hao began to oppose the Heavenly Emperor, Hanju no longer had a favorable impression of him, and no longer cared about his life. People changed. Hanju noticed that Li Daokong was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. He was already a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. The mysterious mighty figure was definitely stronger than a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal. At the very least, he was a pseudo-sage. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan still has a pseudo-sage around him. Hanju discovered that he had still underestimated Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's connections. As for Zhou Fan, he had inherited Di Lantian's legacy and wanted to control the Golden Crow Divine Clan, as expected of the reincarnation of a sage, the protagonist of the heavens. In short, the atmosphere of the war had weakened greatly. At least, that was the case in his circle of friends. The past 10 years had been relatively peaceful. Hanju focused on cultivating after reading the emails. Even if he became a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal, Hanju could still rely on absorbing negative karma to become stronger. The negative karma contained in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus was extremely huge. The accumulation of countless calamities could be said to be endless. Time passed quickly. Hanju was cultivating diligently. The immortal world had been changing because of the calamity, causing all kinds of geniuses to appear. Among them, the momentum of the humans became stronger and stronger. More and more hidden experts appeared. Only then did everyone realize that as the protagonist of the heavenly Tao, the humans were no longer mortals who needed the protection of the various sage sects and immortals. Mortals were already comparable to immortals, even surpassing them. Year after year passed. About 17 years passed. Hidden Sect Island shook again. This time everyone was calm. Hanju sensed that it was the dark power that surged over. Fortunately, The Dao field had already increased, and there was no need to worry. 10 minutes later, Hanju suddenly felt a familiar aura pass. Su Qi. What a coincidence. Hanju knew that Su Qi was in the dark forbidden zone, but it was so big, and he could actually bump into him. Could it be a conspiracy of a mysterious existence? I want to know who planned for us to meet Su Qi here? Hanju asked in his heart. He would offend a sage in the future. He could only be cautious. He could only be plotted against by others, so he had to be careful. 3 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So many? It was indeed a trap. Continue. A burly figure appeared in Hanju's mind, and a line of words appeared in front of him. Jinan, cultivation unknown. Heavenly Dao sage, immeasurable emperor, one of the golden immortals of the Jie school. Because he deduced that Su Qi has karma with you, he especially led Su Qi to wander around the dark forbidden zone, wanting to bump into you. Heavenly Dao sage. Hanju was stunned. He thought that there was only one sage in the Jie school, who was the sect master of the heavenly court. After all, he had watched the investiture of the gods in his past life. Furthermore, the Jie school of the immortal world was really pathetic. They had all lost. Disciple, bear with it for now. Hanju thought silently, and continued cultivating, waiting for Su Qi to pass. Sage Jinan couldn't spy on the Dao field. As for Su Qi, he was the one who insisted on leaving back then. Now all of this was karma that he should endure. After a while, Su Qi's aura disappeared. Hanju couldn't spy on the dark forbidden zone, but Su Qi didn't belong there. In the dark forbidden zone, he was like a lamp in the night, very eye-catching. However, Su Qi had also lost all his senses. He couldn't spy on his surroundings. Hanju didn't know how this kid had been all these years. After Su Qi left, Hidden Sect Island returned to normal. Hanju entered his cultivation state again. 3 years later, the Hidden Sect's 100-year competition began again. Li Yao was still the strongest among the disciples, but compared to the other immortal emperors, she was still not their match. Jiangyi was not bad. He had actually defeated the Black Hell Demon Lord. This excited him. Jiangyi was in high spirits and finally straightened his back. This fellow overestimated himself and still wanted to challenge Hanju. Hanju didn't refuse and killed him with a punch. Although it was a simulation trial, Jiangyi still felt depressed. The others were curious about what he had experienced. Haha, could he have been beaten up by Master? The Black Hell Chicken laughed loudly. The others couldn't help but laugh. Hanju was not a magus. How could he be so violent? Jiangyi roared. Shut up. Seeing that he was so angry, everyone was stunned. Could it be that the stinky chicken was right? Above the sea of clouds, under the old tree, Jade Emperor Zhou Yin stood facing Great Nine Heavens, who emitted a divine light. Have you thought about it? Great Nine Heavens asked. Jade Emperor Zhou Yan's expression was ugly as he said in a low voice. I haven't lost yet. I was repelled by Li Daokong because the Dark Forbidden Lord suddenly cursed me. Otherwise, Li Daokong would definitely not be my match. Great Nine Heavens shook his head and said, defeat is defeat. You, a pseudo-sage, can't kill a zenith heaven. It's ridiculous. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin was silent with a livid expression. Great Nine Heavens sighed. This is the sage's intention, but I have a plan. What plan? Kill Li Xianao of the human school, and replace his role in the human race. Jade Emperor Zhou Yin almost cursed. This was definitely going to cause a fallout with the human school. He was not the sage's match. Great Nine Heavens said meaningfully. You know best what will happen to you if you lose this opportunity. I'm doing this for your own good. The current heavenly Dao immeasurable calamity is only a piece of cake. The true calamity is still ahead. At that time, everyone below the sages will be as insignificant as ants. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.